I really appreciate having Federal Ammo on as a sponsor for this show. They've been a great ammo company for a lot of years. They're really good about working with new media, which I feel like says that they are very on top of things and very with it for a company that has been around as long as they have. And they just have a wide range of selection when it comes to ammo. Everything from their Federal Champion brand, which is a really good, affordable ammo for practice at the range. They also have their American Eagle brand, which is a really good, middle-of-the-road, high-quality ball ammo, practice ammo, defense ammo, whatever you want to use it for. And then they also have really high-end defensive ammo and hunting ammo with premium bullet technologies and all the good stuff. So you got the full spectrum with Federal Ammo. They always seem to keep a lot of it in stock, and it's easy to find. Just a great, great company. Really happy to have them on as a sponsor and really appreciate them. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gun Culture Radio. The sponsor for this podcast is SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. You can check them out at sdi.edu. It's a really cool opportunity if you're interested in being a gunsmith. They have some other firearms technology degrees. Just check out their website. They do take GI Bill, so any veterans out there, it's a cool opportunity. You know, you can't hate a job, in the gun industry. I assume a lot of people listening to this show are gun nuts just like me. It's cool to be able to have a job doing something that you love. Turning a hobby into a job is the true American dream. It's not 2 cars in every garage and a white picket fence. It's having a job that you love. That's the American dream right there, and that should be everyone's dream. That should be the human dream, not just the American dream. Anyways, check that out, sdi.edu. Really appreciate them for the sponsorship. This show is not cheap to make. So anyways, appreciate that and hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, it's been too long since we did one of these.
Too long, by God. It was sometime late last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been too long. People have been asking, when's Derrick going to be back on?
Yes, their checks are in the mail. Check your mailboxes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and to answer that question, right now.
Right now, by God. It's good to be back here in Poland. Hey.
Yeah. We got to do it in the show in a lot of different places, keep people guessing.
That's right. Yes, the Interpol, people guessing like Interpol, FBI.
They still find us every time.
I don't know how they do it, but the technology, by God.
Yeah, we can't stop trying, though. We can't stop trying. This is totally random. But this reminds me of something I was thinking about the other day. Something you always hear about is, as gun people, we talk about how part of the Second Amendment is, that if the government ever became too tyrannical, it's like our last nuclear option to say, no, we are free human beings. We're not going to take this. Like, we have guns. We can defend ourselves. And people say, oh, you're going to take on the government with Apache helicopters. And something I thought about the other day is, yeah, you mean like how those Apache helicopters just won the Iraq and Afghanistan wars like instantly, and that we haven't been over there for 10 plus years.
Oh, good point. Good point. And again, I think that by the time something like that happened, there will have to be a lot of discontent, and that's not going to happen overnight.
No, and it shouldn't.
You're right.
If anything does happen overnight, then, as far as on the civilian end, then it's probably something that shouldn't be happening.
Exactly. Something that would motivate a bunch of people, a big enough group of people to just all of a sudden get up and rebel against the government. They're gonna have to be really doing some BS,
right?
But I don't see that. I mean,
no, I don't see it ever happening. But as far as that idea that's just impossible that the American people could ever stand against the government. Well, one, you got a lot of soldiers. Like if you were still in the military, let's say you're still 30 years old and you're in the military.
Yeah, it's only been 40 years. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know, the government was like, well, looks like we're going into the town and we're going to start taking up people's guns.
That scenario did come up. What do you do as a member of the Army, Navy, Marines, as a member of the armed forces? What do you do when your leadership orders you to do something that is completely unlawful? Right. I know what they said, but do you have to follow an unlawful order? No, you don't. If it's an unlawful, illegal, or immoral order, you're not obligated to follow it. Now, the problem is there could be repercussions for that.
Right. Or if the government decides that they want to say that it's legal.
Exactly. That's the dilemma you're in as a member of the government or the armed forces, is that you may not agree with the instructions you're given, but in many cases, you're obligated to follow it.
Right.
So that's a tough spot. That's I don't agree with the law, but I have to enforce it.
Right.
Not just like out here for police security out here. You may not agree with the law, but you're put in a position where you know what, I have to enforce it, even though I don't agree with it.
But I still think there's a limit.
Yes, there is. There is. It depends on say going back Vietnam, my lie. If they order you to fire on unarmed civilians, hey, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But you got people that would, and there will be repercussions for that because that's an example of an immoral order. So yeah, there are limits. There are.
Right, and it's like you get into the Nazi thing where, those guys have been rounded up like 85, 90 years old, and they still catch them and take them to trial and stuff. And that's a tough one because it was a horrific thing that they did. It's also kind of like it's weird, to think about. Like, I mean, they would have been killed. Like, I don't know. I almost said something really stupid, but put yourself in if you're get this, you're a Nazi in a concentration camp. Put yourself there.
Been in a Nazi basement, but
but not a concentration camp. Yeah,
close.
But you get what I'm saying, though. I mean, they're going to kill you. I mean, like, think about this. They're wiping out a race of people.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, this is wrong. You think they're going to hesitate about killing you?
Oh, yeah.
Of course not.
Exactly.
Not that means that it's right, but it's like...
It's a dilemma. It's a ethical dilemma, and it takes more courage. It would take more courage to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this.
Right.
My former in-laws told me the same thing. They said, look, yeah, maybe we knew what was going on, but if you say something, that's when you end up behind the wire with them.
Yeah.
It's a survival thing. If I say something, I end up with them, so I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
It's a ethical, moral dilemma, and that you hope you're never put in that position.
Right.
So,
yeah, weird time, and just it's crazy, but
it's a tough choice that we hope it will be a tough decision that we hope we never have to make.
Right.
And I hope to God we don't. Hey.
Yeah, and this thing people don't realize is the whole Nazi thing didn't necessarily happen overnight.
No.
It wasn't like Hitler was like, I want to eradicate. Well, he did say things about, he did say things that were anti-Semitic, but
yes.
But it wasn't like every Nazi soldier knew that they were going to be involved, and they all weren't, of course, but they didn't know what they were going to be involved in necessarily when they signed up. Of course.
Back to that dilemma. You're in the armed forces. They give you an order that you feel is wrong morally, but what do you do?
Yeah,
I'm still in the Army. It's a tough call. Especially in that time frame when it's like, what, you didn't do what? Okay, up against the wall.
Right.
I mean, whoa.
It's kind of one of those deals where if you're not sure, 100% sure, you're better off to just
leave it alone.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. If you're not sure, don't, hey.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're having doubt about if this is right or wrong, you should leave it alone.
Right.
It's a different example of that being a different time. The last person that the Army executed, Eddie Slovik, in 1944, he decided that he just wasn't going to go fight. He said, I'm scared, I'm not going to do it. They said the Army gave him every chance to just pick up your M1 and go back to your unit. Every chance. And he said no. Everybody, his chain of command up to his commanding general said, look, man, I understand. Just go back. Just pick up your gun and go back. I'm not going to go. Because he thought they were just going to put him in jail. Nope. For cowardice, it's one of those rules that the Army has that they hardly ever enforce, like executing somebody for cowardice.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was the Battle of the Bulge. There was all kinds of other episodes of cowardice.
Can't let that spread.
Yeah, exactly. That was the position that the Army was in. We got to do something to stop this, or it's going to get out of control. And they lined him up and they shot him.
Yeah.
So it was something that anybody wanted to do? No. But were they in a position where they felt like they had to? Yes. Again, a tough decision that you hope you never have to make. But you can find yourself in that position.
It's like there was a really good World War II movie, kind of different. It was an HBO, I think an HBO producer or something. I don't know, but it was called When Trumpets Fade.
Yes, seen it. Yeah,
yeah. There's a scene in there where this guy, it's kind of the classic disgruntled, guy,
angry guy. I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
God, I was back home doing this, and they drafted me. Yeah, that guy.
But he's like actually like a really good soldier, like that whole.
But
thing.
he hates it. He hates that he's a good soldier. I hate that. I want to be rebellious. Yeah, that guy.
Like the Raphael from the Ninja Turtles, like the most talented guy, but also the most angry about the fact that he has to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
But there was a scene where they were attacking some Germans and like they had these new recruits, whatever, and a couple of them like ran or something, and he shot them as they were running away. And it was supposed to be this big shocking scene, which it kind of was in a way, but you think about it, it's like, well, I mean, if he hadn't done that, then those other guys might have run too, and he would have been dead, or those Germans might have gone on to kill other soldiers.
Exactly.
And,
in the movie, one of the privates said the same thing too. He says when they questioned the sergeant, "Hey, you had to shoot them. You shot so and so," and the private said, "Yes, he had to shoot him because if he hadn't shot him, we all would have ran."
Right.
Okay. When I was in the Army, they talked about that. That was always the big scenario question. What do? You're going up there, and all of a sudden one of your guys takes off running. Would you shoot him?
I think it depends on the context.
Realistically, for me, speaking for myself,
right.
No. I'm like, my attitude was, look, dude, if you're that scared that you're going to throw your gun down and run away, okay, run. I'm not gonna shoot you down. No way. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. That stuff just don't happen anymore. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's just not gonna happen anymore. Because you know the frame of mind you have to be in to just throw your gun down and run away.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I think it takes more. In some ways, it takes more courage to do that than to stay there and fight. There's plenty of guys that stay and fight that are scared crapless. Yeah. But to say I'm out of here and run away because you gotta live with these people.
Yeah, you become like the lowest form
pariah. Yeah. I mean, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
What was that? Hey, we were just joking about Interpol looking for us. Yeah. We were just joking.
Don't worry, I got us covered back here.
That's right. Started off, I see tear gas rolling in here any minute.
Yeah. You got the DP-12 was right there.
By God, okay, but something like that, especially if you know the guy. If you've known the guy for a long time and you see the guy just lose emotional control and take off and run, you're not going to shoot him down. You know him personally.
Right.
So there was a guy in Iraq that he didn't want to go up north out of Kuwait. So he took his gun, shot himself in the leg. And you know what the Army did? They wrapped up that leg and put him in the truck and sent him north anyway.
Oh, you're talking about Iraq 1 or Iraq 2?
2. Sorry, there's been so many. Yeah, Iraq 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they going to call you when the third one happens?
I'll advise from here. Okay. I'll advise from here.
Okay.
By the way, did you see that movie 13 Hours?
No, I've heard it's really good.
Dude,
though.
Excellent.
I've heard it's really good. I gotta see it.
Me and the rest of your Army guys watch that movie and go, yeah, let's get back out there, forgetting what it's really like to be out there. We're like, dude. After the adrenaline wears off, we're like, well, you know,
maybe it's better.
It's better just to be here sitting on the sofa watching. Yeah, I go. I love to think, by God, I'd jump up and grab my AR-15 and run out there and kill me some terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, dude, you know what? But my knee hurts right now. Somebody got some rubbing alcohol. So you forget. It's easy as an old guy to forget that you're not 20-something no more. So, but it feels good to think about it, though. By God, I give them what for. By God.
Well, your heart's out. It goes out there to the guys who are out there, right?
As long as they put me up on the roof, as long as I got to move too much, I'll be fine.
There you go. Put you on that M60 on the roof.
By God. Oh, great movie, though. Dude, great movie.
I got to see that one. Yeah, definitely got to go see that one.
Yeah, you get all fired up. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
So, hey.
I heard that they, that they handled it very well as far as, what the kind of the goings on, because it's a very controversial situation. The thing that happened,
presidential candidate was had something to do with it. Okay.
And I've heard that they handled it very well, and like a lot of people were pretty happy with how it was handled.
It wasn't just this. What's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't just scathing. It was presented as factual.
It wasn't a total like propaganda.
Yeah, it wasn't propaganda. That's the word. It wasn't propaganda. No, this situation. They called for help. Help never came. Help was available. It was right there, but the higher ups, whoever they were, didn't authorize it. So they ended up losing a couple of guys and an ambassador, and things happened the way they did. I don't know if it's the big controversy that people are trying to make it. I don't know. But the movie covered it very well. Yeah. Very well. Great movie, too. Oh, love that action. Yeah.
It's interesting to see the guy, because I can't remember his name. One of the main characters is famous for being Jim from The Office.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting to see him in that role, playing a Navy SEAL. Oh, he was, right? He's ex-Navy SEAL, his character?
He was either Force Recon or Navy SEAL. I think it's Navy SEAL, yeah. One thing the movie did point out is that when we do these operations as a country overseas, we need to have American contractors or GIs there. No more hiring local nationals. I know that's sticky, when some of the places we deal with, I know that's very sticky, but in the movie, and I believe it, the local national security people took off like rabbits.
Yeah.
And you didn't know who was who and all that.
It could be more easily corrupted.
Exactly, because these people live there, and there's a lot of tribal stuff going on. You don't know what the loyalties lay. So anything like that, I would think you need American personnel there, contractors at least.
Yeah. So. Contractors seem like a good idea. If the money's there to pay them, bring them over.
I mean, why not? I mean, you don't say the M word, mercenary,
right?
Because we don't like that anymore.
Contractors,
much better. Yes, you get the right people and the right place. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Hey.
Those euphemisms, they just keep going on forever and ever. I think George Carlin he summed it up best, but it's true though. It's like you have a word and then that takes on a negative meaning. So then you have to have a new word. And then that new word takes on a negative meaning. So then you have to have another new word. It's like you just keep going. Like Carlin has like one of the most famous comedy bits of all time. Mm-hmm. And I think he's talking about PTSD, and he talks about how at first it was shell shock. He's like shell shock, very to the point, And then it was like, what was the next one? I can't remember. It was combat fatigue.
Combat fatigue, yeah.
Yeah, the combat fatigue, and then the next one was, it's like, they kept changing it and changing it until it sounded more,
socially, politically correct, socially acceptable.
Right.
And it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same thing. I mean,
and I think we talked about on the show when Will was here about how, because he's told me personally, I think on the show, he doesn't like the term PTSD because he says he doesn't think it's a disorder because you're having a reaction you're supposed to have to that situation.
True. I can see that. But then there's a stigma that still, even in these times, there's a stigma associated with PTSD, which there shouldn't be. Yeah. There shouldn't be. I mean, any reaction you have from a traumatic experience is completely natural to have that reaction. Yeah. Now, what you got to learn how to do is cope with it. I think, in my case, is admitting that there is a situation,
right,
and taking appropriate steps to deal with it.
Yeah, and I can see his logic behind it because, like, if you go running through a briar patch, you're not going to say you have scratched up disorder. It's like you ran through a briar patch and you got what happens when you go through that. Exactly. So it's like you had an experience that was traumatic, and you dealt with that in a way that a human deals with a traumatic experience. It's not like the point he makes is a disorder is something that it just I'm not as smart as he is. I can't remember what he said, but it's like it's something that that just happens to you, and it's not like it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's not it doesn't define you. I mean, it's not who you are. And again, the most appropriate thing is to realize that yes, this happened, to embrace it, and let's deal appropriately with it. I mean, you can live with it. I mean, I'm telling you. I almost told the story there. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to get too heavy. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Not first time back. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about that one another
13
time.
hours. But great movie. And all that happened just 13 hours. I'm like, dude. Oh.
Yeah.
Again.
I got to see it. Everyone says it's great.
Great movie. Go see it. And what's the other one? There's another one. There's another one movie that didn't get much playtime in the theaters. Unbroken.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
dude, that guy was rock hard. Oh,
yeah,
dude. Oh,
yeah. I think that movie was like, it's one of those movies where you watch it and it kind of like it wasn't a great movie to me. It was just a really interesting movie. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
But after I saw it, I wasn't just like, wow, that was the greatest movie ever. I was like, I'm glad I saw that.
It's a great movie. That guy was awesome. That guy was awesome, and he did. And talk about going forward, doing the right thing. After the war, he dealt with PTSD, and the way he obviously, and the way he went forward from that was through forgiveness. And he went back and found everybody that held him captive, forgave him, except for the guy that really tortured him, who refused to meet him. Not that he wasn't willing to forgive him, but the guy just refused to meet with him at all.
Yeah, so, couldn't handle it, I guess.
Exactly.
That's a victory in a way. It's like, I'm better than you.
Exactly. And the Australian guy said in the prison camp in Japan, he says, the way we beat them is by surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie.
Great story. It shows you, like, stories like that are really cool. Even the movie, was it 127 Hours with where the guy get his arm stuck under the rock.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
he's in the desert. Yeah,
Yeah, different thing, but still, like movies about where it shows you, you know, what the limits of human potential are, and how they're so much further than we think.
Yeah. Cisco will talk to that. You think that however far you think you can go, you can actually go 10 miles further.
Yeah.
You know. Now I'm broke to eat that shark raw. Okay, I don't know. I like to think I think I would do it, but it's just about being hungry enough.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So, let me grab this shark and pull him into the boat with me and kill him with bare hands and then eat him.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, like Hugh Glass and The Revenant eating that raw fish.
Oh my God! If you're hungry, one thing they teach in school too: never say what you won't do. That's that's one of the biggest lessons they teach in school. Never say what you won't do.
Yeah.
Because we're sitting here fat and hungry, just ate, gonna eat again here in a few hours, by God. But get you out there, as I'm here to tell you, I told that other story, after just 2 days without no chow, it's like, that roadkill looked mighty good.
Yeah.
So never say what you won't do.
Yeah.
Never say what you won't do.
Yeah, definitely. You told me a funny story about when, was it Sears School or whatever, you saw the guy with Burger King or something? And
I was going to kill this man over a bag of chips.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bag of chips. Okay, yeah.
Oh, God.
Burger King would have been a little funnier.
We laughed. I laughed now, but that was serious. It's a heart attack.
Yeah.
That dude's probably sitting back there in North Carolina going, I got this. Hey, honey, there was this time about 20 years ago. I felt like somebody was watching me. I never got over it, honey. It was so real.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I've never been in a. I mean, I've been hungry-ish before, but I've never been like hungry. And yeah, it's true. You don't know what you're gonna do.
You never know what you'll do. And I think
and even the times when I've been at my hungriest, it's never been like because I had to. Really,
just okay. Where's the next exit? Okay.
Yeah, anytime I want, I could get food. So it's,
oh my God. So it's a good experience. I think we should all test our limits because you'll see how far you can go, and that's a good thing because you learn about yourself. You learn what's important to you.
And even just knowing that, even like. And I've used this example before. It's a very, very scaled down version of this stuff we're talking about, but it's still on some scale a similar idea. Like when I was playing basketball, my first year, we had this really tough coach where he just conditioned the hell out of us. And for me at the time, that seemed like a big deal. And
it's perspective. It's perspective.
Yeah, and I remember. Like when we were running, we oh my God, it was ridiculous. I mean, for sports, it was really intense.
Yeah,
it really was intense. I wasn't like some lame kid or something that couldn't handle it. I mean, it was really intense. He was really well known, good coach though. So we'd be running whatever, different suicides or whatever, and we'd get to a number to the point where I was just like, "There's no way I can do another one." Like I couldn't even wrap my head around how I could possibly do even one more. And you ended up doing like twice as many.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I remember the way that I remember getting through it is I told myself that if I decide to quit, then I'm not going to do it until after the practice is over.
Okay.
That's what I used to tell myself.
There you go.
Because I would be like, I can't just, I'm trying to think of I can't wimp out.
Okay.
And in the middle of practice, I can't take it. I was like, if this is too hard for me and this is something I don't want to do, that's fine. But I'm going to at least make it through this one day. And then I'm going to decide, you know what, this is not for me. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I never quit. Because when you get done, you're kind of like, all right, well, I've done it now. I guess
it's over now. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll come back tomorrow. Yeah. You can.
But even with something like that, you can learn some of those lessons.
Exactly. Yeah, your limits. You got all of us have the potential to go a lot further than we think we can, but you got to be pushed.
All right.
You got to put yourself in a situation where you're stressed or you're pushed enough to go as far as you can, and you'd be surprised.
Right.
You'd be surprised.
And even just knowing that. Whatever that thing is where you push yourself, and if you're doing something that's completely different, maybe it's way harder, way different.
Yeah.
But the concept is still the same. So if you have that in your head, like, that one time where I was trying to do that one thing, I was able to push myself, so I could probably do it with this.
Whatever you've been through, you can probably look back and find something that was tougher.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can't take it. But remember that time back when okay, all right, okay, this ain't nothing. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh my God, that reminds me. You know those people that always got to one up every damn story that you got. It's always like real like. It's rarely like someone that's like really cool and like really smart, but yeah, they do that also. It's always some guys it's like you know. Oh my God, I've worked with people like that before. It's like everything they say, like, oh yeah, it's like I don't know, like tell them a story about like, oh yeah, I almost got a ticket in my car. Oh yeah, back when I was your age, I got a ticket going 500 miles an hour on and it's like Jesus.
You seen Deadpool yet?
No,
dude. Yeah, okay, I'll go spoil it for you. Anyway,
no, don't spoil it.
No, okay. Something from a certain movie.
Yeah.
Relevant to what you just said is that, the guy said that, I was the person that always has to one up you.
Yeah.
I was molested by my uncle, and he says only one.
That's hilarious.
Only one. So yeah, you always got that guy who wants to one up you. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have a story that might be slightly more precious than somebody else or whatever. But there is that guy though. It's just like, oh my God.
Come on, whatever. Yeah, you're right. That guy's always out there. Whatever, dude. You know?
There was a guy that. Like, I'm trying to be vague. You don't know him, but it was a security job that I worked at, not with you. And there's this guy that worked there, and he talked about how he used to be a security guard somewhere else before. And he's an older guy, but he said, he's like, "Our nose been broken 50 something times or whatever, working security." I remember I did the math. I can't remember the exact number that he said, but I remember doing the math, and it was something like, in the times that he said he had worked security, he would have had to have gotten his nose broken like literally once a month. And I was just like,
it doesn't. Michael Jackson has no nose. I mean, right.
I mean, a few breaks and it's basically done for him.
Yeah.
Athletes have problems with that where that's why some basketball players have to wear those masks over their face, But it's like people like that. It's like, come on, what are you trying to do? Like who are you trying to? I don't know.
The other version of that is the guy that is the people that what's the word I'm looking for? The embellish their stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, by God, remember that time I played football? It was 4th and 20, 2 seconds left. I threw Hail Mary, scored a touchdown. And the next time they tell it, it was a blizzard and there was 3 foot of snow on the field, and it was 4th and 40, and I threw and then the next time, there were 3 bears on the field, and I shot one, threw a Hail Mary, skinned the third one, and then scored the winning touchdown. Okay.
Jabbed one in the eye.
There was somebody who, I'm thinking, I can tell this one. This guy, just like that in the Army. It was the same thing. I mean, he told this story about a mission. I'm being vague, into a certain place, and he jumped out of the airplane, and he came down, and all of a sudden, a bad guy, he hit the ground with his parachute, and all of a sudden, there was a guy right there with an AK right on him.
Yeah.
And then the guy's pulling up, getting ready to blast him with the AK, and all of a sudden, another paratrooper came down, landed on top of the first guy, and saved him. I went,
that sounds
okay. Okay, you said it. I don't know. You said it. I don't know.
See, like I would maybe believe a story like that if it's a guy that doesn't tell stories like that all the time.
No.
See, that's the thing. Like, that's how you can usually tell. Like, for example, I know of somebody that once killed a deer by kicking it.
Ouch.
Which sounds like a story you would never believe. Like, he was riding his motorcycle. And a deer I can't remember if he came around the corner and it was there, or it came out in front of him, one of the two. And he didn't have time to do anything. It was just like, bam, there's a deer. So instinctively, he put his leg out and kicked it, and and was able to keep control of the motorcycle, and then came back around, and the deer was dead on the road. Right, so like that's the kind of story. If certain people told me that, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
But this guy, that's the only story like that he's ever told me, or I've ever heard relayed to me. It's a dad of a friend of mine.
He's not drunk. It doesn't come out every Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Like I'm not always hearing like, oh, he did this, that. I mean, it may be. It could still be made up, but. You know what I mean? If
it's plausible. It sounds plausible.
Yeah, it's plausible. You think about it. Okay, like if you're on a motorcycle, he has a Harley.
Yeah.
So it's like you're like 1,000 pounds basically.
Okay, traveling about 60 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
That could happen. you know, but sometimes it's like I've worked with people before, and it's like they just got so many stories like that. They're like on that level of improbable, you know, and just by law of averages, you're not going to have too many of those.
Like the individual who used to work at this company that we both know.
Yeah.
He told me, he used to brag about, this guy came up to me, drew his Glock 42 at me, and I reached up there and put a wrist lock on his hand, disarmed him, unloaded his weapon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, that was pretty badass. That's pretty bad, dude.
Yeah.
He goes, and then the same guy gave his weapon to a gangster in the projects.
Oh, yeah.
Because why? Because the gangster walked up and asked him for it.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Okay, whatever. All right.
I'm going to be asking for it.
Well, you asked.
Yes, nicely, I'm
He
sure.
said, please. Here you go. Well, yes, sir. Here you go. Take my gun, please.
Yeah.
Hey, take my extra magazines, too. On your back. Come on.
Yeah, he just wanted to, you know, clean the farm or something. Yeah. Reasonable.
You'll bring it back, right? Come on. I'll be right here waiting for you. Come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right.
He got some threats, you know. He's got a record. He couldn't buy one, so just need to borrow it.
So, again.
Yeah.
People love to brag about stuff that they may or may not have done, which I found out that that law, stolen valor, was declared unconstitutional.
And like in what way? Like it's not.
You can't prosecute people for telling lies or wearing Marine Corps uniforms or wearing medals that they didn't earn.
So that I actually kind of agree with, because it's more, to me, it's more of a really big social faux pas than it is an actual law that you're breaking. Now, unless you use it to disadvantage someone
or to get something from people, that's what from my understanding, the Supreme Court found that it comes to free speech. If you want to walk around wearing a Marine Corps uniform and pretend like you're in the Corps, then fine. You're a jerk,
right?
But it's your freedom to do it.
Yeah.
So
and I agree with that. As terrible as it is, I mean, it's like it's a free country, and plus, who knows? Maybe they're playing a role in a movie, and they're just like a super method actor, you know.
People okay, let me tell you something. The cooler the job, the more chance it's BS. All right, like this guy, up in Ohio, I was in the ED, working in the ED up there, and this guy, as soon as he found out I was in the military, he's like, Navy SEAL, Vietnam. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's always the cool job.
Yeah.
So, where the cooks at? Where's the supply? Yeah. Where's the guy that counted like toilet paper? Where is he? Where was he at? I'm sure they had those guys there.
Yeah.
But no, it's always the Navy SEAL or the Green Beret guy. Again, when you hear that guy tell the story, and the cooler the job, the more problems I got believing it. Yeah. Because it's always something cool.
Like I had a teacher in college that was in Vietnam, and his job was he called in mortars. Like he sat in a tent. And they rated him in. I forget exactly how it worked, but he was just kind of like a go-between, where the mortars are supposed to go.
A fire control guy,
yeah. And I was like, this guy definitely was in Vietnam. Like,
I was there. And
you're not going to make that up, probably.
This is what I did. No, I didn't charge no hills. I sat with a radio and told other guys where to shoot.
My basketball coach, actually, one of the schools I was at, had his wife's brother. This is like this guy I knew, and this other guy he knew, and then this other. It's like it's like so many. This is like so many people. But supposedly, his wife's brother was a Medal of Honor recipient. Did I say that right? Recipient, from Vietnam, and supposedly the story was, and I never met the guy or anything like that. It was just something that got relayed through the coach or whatever. I assume it was. I mean, Medal of Honor. I mean, that's pretty easy to check, I guess. I mean,
that's pretty.
That's true.
What's his name again? Hold on, let me Google that. All right,
yeah. But supposedly the way it happened was they were taking some hill, and the dude just got terrified. Like he was utterly terrified.
Yeah.
Except that instead of running away, he did the opposite. He just ran. He just ran up the hill. I think it was like. The way that it was explained, I kind of get the sense that it was like he had the sense that he was going to die that was so strong that he just wanted to like get it over with or something.
Okay. And it kind of worked out.
And he just ran up the hill and just shot as he ran, and he took out a bunch of guys, and they were able to he saved a bunch of people's lives and stuff, and he got the Medal of Honor.
Dude, it worked out, dude. Dude, it worked out. Why not? Why not? This guy, my old man told about this guy in World War II. They were in Normandy, and And the guy got a letter from a Dear John letter from his old lady.
Yeah.
And they were out there under fire one day, and this guy, for absolutely no reason, just stood up, and the Germans blew him away. I mean,
like some Dances with Wolves, like that.
Yeah.
Costner scene where he's
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he said that they were all on the ground taking cover, and this guy, because his old lady took off on him, just stood up. And then the Germans shot him down, which I guess they should have.
Yeah.
I guess they should have.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, you never know.
Right.
I mean, you never know. I mean, my old man told me they got scraped they were on a flatbed train car going across France, and then the German plane came down and started scraping the train, and they're doing like 30, 40 miles an hour, and he says nobody hesitated jumping off that train at 40 miles an hour, and yeah. Do I believe that? Heck yeah, because I know him. I believe it. Hell yeah. Because I know I would have done it too. I mean, you'll do it. So it depends on what they say and who they are. There are a lot of factors to go into it. You never know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
But it's always interesting how blatantly obvious it is.
Sometimes, you're like, this guy's BSing me. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you one more BS story, and we'll get off of this topic. But like, I remember one time, me and my wife went out to a bar, and it was like me, her, and like one of my friends, and we ran into these people, this dude and like his sister, and we just ended up talking to them at this bar in Nashville. And we're just kind of talking, and I remember at one point being like, so he asked us some questions. I was like, so what do you do? And he goes, well, I kill people for a living. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, in Afghanistan, whatever. And I was like, right away, I already don't believe you.
Okay, yeah, all right, okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds like that guy down 2nd Avenue in Nashville told me that he didn't know I was listening, but he was telling girls, of course, that I was a sniper in Afghanistan, a sniper, and the girl.
It's always a sniper.
The cool job, yeah. He says, what kind of unit were you in? He says, artillery. Oh, okay, I'm thinking you were an artillery sniper, huh? Okay, yeah, all right, whatever, dude. Okay. And so he tried to come in the place that I was covering, and he's like, I says, dude, you in the Army? He goes, yeah. I says, what'd you do? He says, I was an artillery sniper. I went, oh, yeah? What kind of gun you got there, dude? He says, 105. Oh, so you sniped with a 105 millimeter gun. Dude, get the heck out of here. Yeah. Get out of here now. Go. He said, you deny my valor, or you deny my valor? Yes, I am. Go. Hit the road. So, dude, I chased that guy out of there.
Sometimes that's funny. Those videos on the internet are sometimes fun to watch. There's a guy, I want to get him on the show sometime. I need to try to contact him. His name is Don Shipley, I believe. Have you ever heard of him? Yeah. He
calls out fake Navy SEALs.
Yeah. He's got some great videos. He's so good at it. And just the way he does it and everything. Like he starts out kind of like, hey, man, what's going on? And he asks you, like he's your buddy, and he asks a few questions. And a lot of times he'll bring some of his Navy SEAL buddies. I'm sure they love it. They probably call him up. They're like, hey, man, you going to bust anybody? I want to come. Because you'll see them in the background with like just a big grin on their face with this phone, And this is one great one. He got this one guy that was it was like on the main street there in New Orleans, and had like this biker vest on with this like Navy SEAL stuff attached on it. Big old guy had a Navy SEAL tattoo. And man, he really got that guy good.
Poser,
big time.
Poser. Saw same thing. Over in Nashville, same thing. This guy, he was about 6'4", 6'5", military haircut, walking down with a big brown shirt with Navy SEALs across it. I thought that's exactly what a Navy SEAL wouldn't wear. Yeah. But he looked at me like he saw me staring at him. He's like, give me a hard stare. I'm like, dude, you don't impress me. Yeah. Dude.
I saw a Navy, what I think was actually a real Navy SEAL one time at Walmart, actually.
Yeah, a common hangout for Navy SEALs.
Walmart, no. And it was funny because I was like, okay, so I turned around and I kind of glanced at the guy and I was like, who's this guy? And then something struck me about him. I looked at him again. So he had just a Navy hat on, right? Just a regular Navy hat, and then he had a Navy SEAL pin in his hat. And I noticed that, and I was thinking like, oh, I wonder if this guy's fake. And I kind of looked at him, and he was probably, I would say, he was about like late 50s.
Okay.
Right? Definitely had that military look about him. And he was like one of those guys where he's like way too old to still be like physically fit. Where he's got like muscular definition but like loose ass skin,
The old fit guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he just seemed like real serious. And I was like, you know what? That guy probably is a Navy SEAL.
Back in the day, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, hey.
Yeah. And he wasn't like advertising or anything. He just had the hat with a little thing. I was like,
you never know.
Is,
you never know. Yeah, he's probably a real thing. And then don't go around trying to flaunt it either. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems subtle enough to where I was like, man, he probably is.
I understand, dude. If you want to be a poser, that's fine. That's your business. But you never know who's around.
Right.
You never know who's around, and you say the wrong thing to the wrong guy. A lot of people take a big offense to that.
Yeah.
So
I think if I was going to be a military poser, this is what I would do to make it more. If you're gonna pose, you at least be believable, right?
That's right.
What I would do is I'll come up with some kind of job that's super believable, right? It's like cook,
typist, cook,
something like that.
Yeah.
But see, this is how I would impress people. I'd have like one really cool story. I'd be like, I was a cook, I was non-combat, I did this and that, and like know everything about it.
Okay.
I'd be like, oh, but there was this one time. There was this one time where I got a taste of it. I got a taste of the action. I know what it's like. Have some story about how like. What the whole platoon got wiped out, and then they had to come in, and and something crazy like that.
There's I think it's on HBO, a movie called Restrepo.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. I've heard about it.
And one of the scenes shows a cook at the combat operations base. And he's in there frying eggs, and all of a sudden the bad guys start attacking. So he turns the stove off, and puts a cover over the eggs and puts his helmet on, takes his rifle off the rack, goes back there, shoots it out with the bad guys, comes back, puts his helmet back, hangs up his rifle. Starts flipping eggs again. Why not? Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's real life. Exactly. You could be a cook and fight. You could be a clerk typist and fight.
Yeah.
I think one of the first guys in Iraq in 2003 to get some kid had been in the Army like 6 months. He was like a fuel specialist.
Yeah.
18 years old, of course. Goes out there and got a Silver Star for shooting out with the bad guys. Why? Because he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Didn't have enough sense to get down. But it worked out.
Yeah.
Silver Star, of course.
Yeah. That's what I've always heard. Medal of Honor winners usually are people that either are dead or should be.
Exactly. Yeah. Extremely lucky and extremely fortunate.
So. Yeah. Anyways, that was our rant on that.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you about the M60 because I got to shoot one of those for the first time recently.
You got to shoot that E model, right? E6?
Right. It's the E6. So it's the updated version. I've actually heard that there are some military units, Navy SEALs, I think, included.
Yeah, I think the primary user. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not happy with the 240 because it's too big.
240, you talking about the SAW?
No, the
240 Bravo machine gun.
Yeah, the one that shot at Knob Creek.
Okay, it's huge compared
it's
to
a monster
to a E6 M60 Echo 6. It is huge compared to that. I think it depends on what you're doing.
Right.
If you're one of these small special operations, small team kind of guys, you don't want the big, huge, 240 Bravo. Effective, yes. Heavy firepower, yes.
Yeah.
But big.
Yeah,
heavy.
And the E6 is still super heavy. At one point, people saw the video where I tried to, I can't remember, I was adjusting my ear or something, and I tried to hold it up with one hand briefly, and I couldn't. I was not strong enough to hold it up with one hand. Because I don't think I had it tucked. If I had it tucked, I probably could have.
You could do the John Rambo thing. You're firing at one hand and feeding ammunition.
Yeah. That's the thing. If you're firing it, it'll hold itself up.
That muzzle blast keeps it up.
Yeah.
But
I should have done that. But he had the little bag for the belt.
Of course.
So.
I think as far as preference, you need to figure out what you're trying to do. What are we out here to do? Do we need to be fast? Do we need to be light? I heard one Navy SEAL guy from Vietnam say once, for every ounce of weight you carry, that's another inch into the mud you sink. So you got to be reasonable. You got to tailor your weapons toward what you're trying to do.
Right.
The M60 Echo 6, great weapon. I don't know why it wouldn't work as just a regular Army unit, but I think it's more focused toward your special operations people. Yeah. For being like right now, the reason they went to the M4 carbine is because getting in and out of weapons. You try getting in and out of a Humvee with a full size M16A2.
Oh yeah,
they are huge compared to an M4.
And that's the E6 is a lot shorter.
It's a lot shorter than
even than the E3, I think.
Oh yeah, and having carried a full size M60 Delta in Somalia, they are huge. They are heavy, and thank God I had a vehicle.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So
You do the old Vietnam thing behind your head.
yeah,
like
walking down the road,
Yeah.
Chin strap unbuttoned. Let me tell you, that don't work. That thing, if you're gonna have it, it needs to be ready to use.
Yeah.
And you got to be in the condition to carry it. Let me say that right now.
Oh, I can imagine.
I was 25 then. I could carry that thing then. Now I'd be like, my God, get off me. My knees are hurting.
It seems to me, like if you need that kind of, something like that kind of firepower, you want a machine gun, but you need to be able to move around and have to carry it a lot. It seems like the saw is really plenty good enough.
You're right. If you got to do a lot of walking, I would go with a saw.
Yeah,
It's 5.56, a lot lighter.
Not as powerful, but still, I mean, you still got that firepower and that
rate of fire. I think you got rate of fire. As far as penetration,
it's definitely no 308. But as far as being, if your goal is, to try to be able to throw a lot of rounds down range at one time or whatever, it still serves that purpose. It's not going to punch through barriers like the 308.
No. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Close in, close range. It's all about volume of fire.
Yeah.
You put out more bullets than the other guys, they're going to get their heads down. And the saw will do that. And plus, the saw can get out like what's the rate of fire? I should know that for a saw.
It's not as fast as the AR.
No,
it's
like 700 a minute.
I think it's probably in that like 700-800 range.
700-800, and it has an effective range of like 1,100 meters, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
damn good.
Yeah, very good.
And that rate of fire is good. Close in, again, it's about volume of fire. Ask Custer about that. It's about volume of fire.
Yeah.
Going way back, the U.S. Cavalry back in 1876, they used the Sharps carbine, effective out to 900 meters. 900 yards, sorry. Knockdown power. But the Native Americans had the Winchesters. Lighter weapon, but close in, you had a higher rate of fire with that lever action, which is what did the cavalry in. Well, part of what did it, I mean.
Right.
Same thing with the saw. Close in, rate of fire, you can't mess with it.
Yeah.
And you can carry a whole bunch of ammunition with it, too.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
The belts are a hell of a lot lighter than the 308 belts, that's for sure.
But depending on what you're doing, if it's just kind of like I would think with the M60 E6.
If you're not moving a lot,
yes.
I would think the advantage of that is you've got big machine gun firepower in a somewhat light-ish for what it is package and compact. So you could probably you can move it around a little easier.
I have to ask this: how controllable was it?
Very, very controllable. It was of course it's really heavy. The rate of fire is pretty slow on it. I think the rate of fire.
Makes it
people
controllable.
can correct me if I'm wrong, people listening. I'm pretty sure the rate of fire on the E6 is actually intentionally a little bit slower than the original M60.
I would agree. I think the rate of fire, if you slow down the rate of fire, it makes it more controllable.
Yeah, I think that's why I did that.
If you're shooting all over the place, who cares? If you're shooting big bullets, who cares? It's about accuracy.
Yeah, and it's still fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking, I don't know what let me pull it up. Let's see what the rate of fire of the original M60 is.
I think it was like 500 to 600 a minute.
Well, I think it's
because the original M60 was modeled after the old German MG42.
Yeah, it was those things insane. They had variations. They could go from I think it's 1,100 to 1,800 or something.
It was like 27 rounds a second.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which the problem was it ate up ammunition. And that's the problem the Germans had with it. It would eat up ammunition quickly. You had to have 5-6 guys just to man it.
Yeah.
Just to carry ammo for it.
Okay. Let's see. Rate of fire. Oh, yeah, you're right. The original M60 is 5 to 650. Okay. I was thinking that was faster. Let me look at the E6.
But I think E6, again, had a different mission.
Yeah. The E6 hasn't been out long. It's only been out for... okay, I guess they're the same. I don't know where I got that.
Again, like you said, it's fast enough. I mean, big 7.62 by 51?
Yeah.
Close in, it's fast enough and very controllable. I mean, it's about accuracy. Well, you can shoot like that MG42. From what I understand from some of the World War II guys I talked to, very scary weapon.
Yeah.
But accuracy was not necessarily its strong point either.
Because it was so fast.
So the Germans
it's such a big round. That 8mm is a massive round.
Yeah, it was like 7.92. Yeah.
So powerful.
And the Germans use it like a shotgun. The Germans feel like spray and pray, baby. Just
Yeah.
I put on the bullets. I'm gonna hit something.
Yeah.
You know, and that made that loud ripping sound. They called it Hitler's buzzsaw.
Yeah, because it does have like that brrr, almost kind of.
And scary because if you get hit 8mm round,
Man.
29 rounds a second, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
those,
god.
Those green tracers just flying through there.
God. Oh. Like that, like Fury. Yeah, Fury.
Yeah.
When the German MG-42 fired on those tanks, yeah, you better hide behind something,
Yeah.
dude. Oh.
Yeah.
For every one tracer you see, there are 5 rounds between it that you don't see.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
So yeah, I think again, to beat this dead horse, M60 E6. I think it's more mission specific.
Yeah.
Special operations. Something you don't have to carry around. You're not gonna be able to carry around that much ammo in the first place.
Right.
So the rounds you do have need to be hitting what you're aiming at.
Yeah.
So
It seems like, it'd be very versatile for you. You could mount it on a truck.
Yes.
But then if you need to pick it up and run with it, you could. It's not like some big ungainly thing. That is one thing that I never messed with the big M60, but it does seem like having the weight more centralized to a more, compact package.
I'll say this from my experience. Again, one more time, very heavy. What, 23 pounds? Very heavy.
Yeah. Let's see what the E6 was.
You have to you have to be in the condition to carry it. And that's the one thing I learned real quick. You got to be in the condition you need to be in to carry that thing. Plus, you're not only carrying the weapon, you got the ammunition for it too, plus all your other stuff. And I did the most non-infantry thing, I'll admit it, that you could do, which was loop the belts around you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You have one belt in the weapon, ready to go. 100 rounds of 7.62 by 51 gets heavy.
Yeah.
And then you got 2. I put 2 around me, which was, oh my god, I was stuck in the big wind.
Yeah.
I was hurting quick.
How long were the belts? Was it 50?
100 rounds.
Oh, hundreds? Wow.
Oh my god, it looks cool as long as you gotta move around too much.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting there looking cool, it's great. But if you gotta walk a little bit, it gets heavy real quick.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You start losing stuff like shirts and other okay, all right, I gotta lighten up quick.
Yeah.
All right.
It's even Vietnam, but they got like 2, one crossways, and then they got one around
the belt.
Gut,
These guys are 18 years old in excellent condition too.
Yeah.
Hey, and at the time I was 24 then. Oh, dude, no problem. Let's go. But you have to get to the point where you're in that kind of condition. So it depends on the mission. And
like Animal Mother from
the one problem I did see the old M60 Delta. They can be temperamental. You got to take care of them.
Yeah.
You got to take care of them. And because I had nothing else to do, I could break mine all the way down and put it all the way back together. You could eat off my weapon.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing with the new ones. Supposedly they fix a lot of the issues that the old ones had.
Okay. But which in the way we fight today, when are you going to be in that environment that it gets that dirty?
Yeah.
I mean, the way we fight today. I mean,
but still, supposedly, because I have heard a lot of people say that was one of one of the big drawbacks of the M60 was like it had reliability issues.
Yeah, you had to take care of it because if you didn't, it wasn't going to take care of you. That's the way I looked at it. You take care of that weapon, the weapon takes care of you.
Yeah.
If you don't, you go ahead, don't clean it, leave it alone. Oh yeah, see what happens when you need it.
Yeah.
You hear that click. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh Jesus.
It was that they say the loudest, 2 loudest noises that you hear are a click when you're expecting a bang, and a bang when you're expecting a click.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it only makes common sense that you got to take care of your weapons, especially depending on the environment you're in, whether you're a law enforcement, security, or out there in the battlefield somewhere. It makes sense to take care of your weapon because if you don't, you're a fool.
Right.
You're a fool. I can't imagine anybody not doing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, last point. This Nam guy from last night told me he carried the old M14. He says, man, you can roll around in the mud in that thing, it'd be fine. He says you get dirty let it be as dirty as you want it to. I don't know, but he said his was covered with mud. He just kind of wiped it off. The thing fired fine. Oh. Which, considering an M14 is a modified M1, right. I kind of believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good rifle.
Oh yeah.
It's a shame that they're so expensive and they're not as abundant because Springfield Armory is the only company really making them, at least the ones you can get in this country, because the military ones are all full auto. And
yes.
and the Army, yeah. And it kills me. I wish that and of course the military may have already sold a bunch of them.
I think they. I remember, showing my age back during Iran Contra in the 80s. It showed that those Nicaraguan rebels, they had a bunch of M14s. And I'm like, well, I wonder where they got those from. Yeah. I'm sure there are a couple of warehouses full of them somewhere.
Yeah, it seems like all the weapons in the world are either American or Russian.
Yeah.
You know, we really think about it, you know, or some variation.
Exactly. I mean,
well, the Germans, you know, make a lot of weapons, but
they're more specialized though.
That's true. But as far as like what you're likely to run into in some third world country or whatever,
well, probably AK. I mean,
Russian
probably,
stuff.
Because they handed them out. They passed them out. Here you go, guys.
Yeah,
free AKs. We want them. Yeah. You know, hey.
Was it like, I forgot, the AK cost like $20 or something in you know, like Afghanistan or some of these places?
I think Somalia it was like $20. Yeah. Not counting ammunition, but just the weapon itself.
Yeah.
And then Afghan, you can't do nothing to it. I mean, a great weapon. It's a great end of the world weapon. You can't do anything to it. It's accurate enough.
Yeah.
So
there's a company called Kalashnikov USA, and I saw them at SHOT Show. I'm really excited about some of the stuff they got coming out because Century is okay. I'm not crazy about Century. You know.
Why not?
Well, Century Arms, like, you know, for the longest time, they've been like one of the only importers of a lot of these, you know, common guns and stuff. And because they don't just do you know, Russian. They do like all different
Eastern Bloc, all that.
Yeah, all those kind of guns typically. And you know, some of them are okay, some of them are not. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get. But there's a company that was making them in Russia called just Kalashnikov is a company. It's not, it just used his name. It's not like he actual.
They're not associated with the actual guy.
Yeah, not as far as I know.
Okay.
But ever since Obama did that whole import ban thing with Russia and all that trade stuff, they moved to the United States.
Okay.
And set up shop here. So so they have a new version of the company called Kalashnikov USA, and they're making all the Russian guns, and they're making them and supposedly the same quality control that the actual Russian ones are made.
I was about to ask. They make them to Russian standard, right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. A couple of changes on some of them, and what's cool is they have like several different ones. They have everything from like the classic AK.
Yeah.
They sell just your classic, you know, wood, you know, Russian AK, which I definitely want to get one of those.
Okay.
And then they have like levels though, and then it's like, you know, classic AK with the polymer furniture, and then goes all the way up to like the most modern version of it.
Are they putting out that new AK 101?
I think they are. I forgot. They had some of the 10, you know, the 100 series AKs there at the show.
I heard that's the latest thing, man. I mean, oh my god.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Those are interesting.
They're stepping up though, because the Russians are stepping up their game.
Yeah, I think
they've learned.
Yeah, I think there's a 103 too. There's a bunch of different ones.
Mm-hmm. And I heard they're very hard to get a hold of, and the quality is excellent from what I understand. I don't know.
Yeah.
So something I've been asking you about too. You don't see what's the status of AR pistols now? You don't. They used to be the thing. Now are they still as popular?
They're still around.
Still as popular as they used to be. For a while there, it was just a thing to have.
Well, I think they fizzled out a little bit with the whole thing with the SIG brace.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty popular because everyone knows, you know, that whole deal, right? With the SIG brace where you're not supposed to shoulder it and all that.
Okay, yeah.
And but it was not actually a law. It was just a ATF letter of interpretation, basically.
Okay.
And it's one of those deals where it's like, it's annoying because, well, you know, you can't do it on video, but of course, you know, I never would, of course, and of course, you never would.
Nope.
But other people who aren't us, I'm sure, will go out in the woods and shoot them and shoulder them and not worry about it. Because it's like, first of all, you know, like, how are they going to charge it? It's stupid. So because of that, some people maybe are kind of afraid of that issue or whatever, and they don't mess with them anymore. But they still see them around though.
Okay, because like you said, it used to be like they were everywhere. Now it's kind of hard to see them now.
Yeah.
Every place I usually look.
Maybe they're not quite as popular as they were, but
I mean, if you go, I think personally, it's for the money they're asking for them. I mean, for the money it takes to buy one, just get yourself a regular AR or a full-size rifle. I mean, for the money they're asking, to me personally. Yeah,
or one thing I'll tell you that's a great gun for like being compact is a side-folding AR. I mean, well, you can get side-folding ARs, but a side-folding AK.
Yeah.
That has a really good stock. I really like the side folders that have that kind of like, you know, triangle shaped stock, the really solid ones, you know.
Okay,
where
that fold with the that's the one they use for their that the Russians use for their airborne forces.
Yeah, like the Krinkovs would have those, you know, and stuff.
Which good, since we're talking about old Soviet guns, the AK-47 uniform The short, the cut down version. Where do you even get? You can still get those. I've seen them. You had one, yeah.
Oh, that little micro Draco I got. Yeah, similar idea. Doesn't have a stock though, because you can't. It's a pistol, so you can't put a stock on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
but the AK-47 uniform, same. It looks like a pistol, but it fires a full size 7.62 by 51 and has a folding stock.
You mean the 7.62 by 54R? You mean so it fires 308, or does it fire
the Soviet AK-47U?
Okay, so you're talking about, does it fire the big round, the Mosin round?
It fires the standard 7.62.
Oh, okay. So just regular. So the 7.62 by 39, like the regular AK.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I keep thinking 51.
Okay.
7.62 by 39.
That's 308. Yeah, 51 is 308, and then 54R is like what the Russian machine guns fire and the Mosin and stuff.
Good knowledge. You're better than me. I got the 7.62 by 39.
Okay.
It fires that again. Very collapses down to about 14, 16 inches. And fires a full size round. Close in, they use it for their airborne forces. A lot of firepower and a very small weapon.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any over here. I've known this one guy from Pakistan told me, "Oh, well, I was back home. My dad had 2 of them." I'm like, "Whoa, you got 2 of them?" So I guess because they're fully automatic, you can't have them here. But
right.
I'm sure that somebody out there is making a version of them and selling it off as a pistol.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and you can do like the whole SBR thing,
which
that rigmarole.
I did some reading on the M1 carbine, which from what I understand, a lot of people didn't like it back in the day, back in World War II. It was lighter, like we talked about. You could carry more ammunition, but it was a trade-off as with anything else. You didn't have the same penetrating knockdown power that you had with a full-size Garand.
Yeah,
but it was lighter.
Yeah, and they're those things are coming back around because there's companies making new ones now.
Yes, and because that's why I mentioned it, because I saw them making a new paratrooper version with the folding stock.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I forgot how much it cost, but
it's neat because the originals of those are like super collectible.
Oh yeah. Very simple too. No bells and whistles on this thing.
Yeah, it's
just you got your wood stock, iron sights. Hey, go to work. That's very simple.
I love the way you lock the bolt back. It's like just a little button. When you pull it back, you push it, and it kind of locks into a little cutout. There's like a little groove.
Yeah,
you just push it back there.
So very simple, effective enough. But it's, like I said, very collectible, and again, depending on what you're doing, it could be a nice weapon to have.
Yeah.
And I was surprised too. I had a problem finding out what it fired, but again,
30 carbine.
7.62 by 33, which it's good size. I mean, like a 357, right?
So yeah, that's similar, I think. As far as like what the round's going to do, but the problem with 30 carbine ammo is kind of expensive. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's not for the guy who likes to shoot every weekend. No.
Yeah.
Not for that guy. No.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool if they could make one in 7.62 by 39. That'd be interesting. I don't know how that would work, but that reminds me, there's a company that's doing a reproduction of the Sturmgewehr. And they're gonna make it in 3 different chamberings. Mm-hmm. 4. The original, which
yeah, that's
good luck getting that ammo.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I would never buy a reproduction in the original caliber. It's like, why? The ammo is so expensive.
Yeah,
it just seems crazy. So the original one, it's like 8 millimeter Kurtz or something. I forget exactly what it's called. And then 7.62 by 39, which is the one I would get for sure. And 223, and then 300 blackout. And supposedly the 223 model actually will take AR magazines, but they also have their own magazine that you can buy from them that will take 223 rounds but look like the original one. I mean, the Sturmgewehr put a PMag in it. It looked kind of weird.
You're right. I mean, if you're gonna spend the money to get one,
buy their original mags.
Go as authentic as possible. Or otherwise, why have it?
Right, exactly. Like I wouldn't maybe mind getting one in 7.62 by 39. That'd be kind of cool because it's kind of this. It's pretty similar. I mean, the round looks pretty different, but it's kind of the same idea. Similar recoil, probably.
I think what they wanted to make it the original idea behind the weapon. They wanted something between a rifle and a submachine gun.
Right,
and which is what they came up with.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And back then, 30-round magazine? Oh.
Let's see.
It was bigger than that one.
They held something weird, like 30. I want to say like 32 rounds or something.
That's what the German MP, not MP5, MP40.
Oh, it's 32.
MP40 had like a 32 round magazine.
Yeah.
And so, I guess.
Which is weird. Why the extra 2?
I don't. Good question. Well, even numbers, dudes. Even numbers.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Some guy was like, "Let's do 30 rounds." Like, "Are you sure that's enough?" Fine, 32.
32. All right.
But there was some guy that was like 35.
Too much. Too much.
Calm down over there.
You're getting carried away.
Yeah.
So
But supposedly, you're only supposed to load 25 in the magazine. The magazines were not very good.
I used to hear the same thing about the old metal M16, M4 magazines. Never load at 30 rounds, only go 28
or 18 in the 20s.
20.
Yeah.
I went, you know what? Top it off. Top it off, dude.
Yeah.
Top that thing off. Hey. And because you don't know. That 2 rounds can make all the difference.
Yeah.
You don't know. So.
Yeah.
That pistol, I'm sorry, only 14 rounds instead of 16. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't want to wear out that magazine. I'm sorry.
Right. Hey, and prime example, Die Hard. He had 2 rounds left in the MP5 magazine, and he put him in the Beretta. Right?
That's right. Taped to his back.
See?
Yeah, that's right.
There. That's it.
That's what you need 2 rounds.
That's assuming the MP5 is a 32 round magazine. I assume it is.
MP5, no, 30.
Oh, it's 30. Oh, damn it. Well, there it goes. There goes my theory.
There you go, dude. Hey, but it's a movie.
Yeah,
it's a movie. Die Hard, great movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a great movie.
But they start stretching. The second one was good.
Yeah.
When they went back to New York. But the third, come on.
Yeah. I like Sam Jackson, but it got weird. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It had cool parts of it. But
it's obvious that they're milking it.
Yeah.
There was a fourth one when he went to fight in Russia with his son. A Good Day to Die Hard. That's like the fourth one.
That's right. Yeah, that one was okay.
I gotta make this comment on the second one when he's going down the highway in New York and he in the Ford F-150 and he hits the brake. The bad guys are chasing him. He hits the brake, puts the truck into a spin. And as he's spinning around, starts firing the M9, the pistol at the bad guys and flips the truck over. Looked great.
Yeah.
Plausible? No way. But it looks great though. Hey.
It's great when they do realism and when it comes to the guns and stuff in movies. I love that. You know, like of course, you've seen the movie No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Now the suppressor on the shotgun, the sound and everything wasn't realistic on that because suppressors just don't sound like that. But there was but a lot of the gunplay was kind of realistic that they did. And there's one scene that I always really liked where the guy, he's in that hotel room, remember, and then the guy that's chasing him finds him.
Yeah.
And he goes out the window and he gets in his truck and he's driving away, and then all of a sudden these rounds start coming through the windshield. But they're like quiet. You don't hear the gunfire because you're using a suppressor. And the sound of the rounds hitting, sounded pretty realistic to me. I thought there's something neat about that when you hear a round actually impacting something, but you don't have the report from the gun covering it up.
Well, how far away are they shooting from, too? I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. He had a suppressor and he was shooting from a little bit away. So I thought that was realistic how they captured that sound and everything.
But I thought suppressor cut down your range, though.
No,
it doesn't.
No, a good most suppressors shouldn't really change anything about the way the bullet impacts. Sometimes on handguns, you got to toy with them and stuff like that to get the impact the same. But for the most part, it doesn't really.
Did not know that. Again, I thought, the suppressor, that just took 50 yards off your range. Yeah,
I've even heard they can even increase, the velocity of some bullets, just pressure and stuff. Don't quote me on that. That was just something that the guy who sells suppressors told me. So,
but that's a modern thing because I can't see why they're using a suppressor. Because I was watching talking about realistic gunplay. Yeah, and Tombstone, great movie. 20 years ago.
There were suppressors in Tombstone?
You see what Doc Holliday had? Yeah. No. I can't see why they're using one.
No.
One thing he talked about in later life was that when the shootout broke out, he says, one thing you do is not move. You think that'd be intuitive not to move, but he says one thing that saved him was that he stood still. Because in the heat and the duress of a gunfight, you're going to fire anything that moves. And Wyatt upset, just stay still, pick your targets, but don't get down, don't jump, just fire at your targets. because the people you're firing at, their reaction will be to shoot anything that moves.
Yeah.
One thing I learned in being attached to the infantry was that, like, if you're going to a house and your weapon jams, you drop to one knee, clear the jam, but don't stand back up when you're ready to fire again.
Oh, so when you're ready to fire, stay down.
Stay down on one knee and fire from that one knee. Don't stand back up, because the bad guys, or even maybe your guys, are going to shoot anything that moves.
It's going to have that whack-a-mole effect.
Exactly.
Oh, there's a guy.
Exactly. Something moves, shoot it. So
Yeah.
again,
Oh, that's interesting.
that's right.
I never thought about that.
So live and learn.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well, oh.
I said, I'm hitting ammunition.
Okay, I was confused. I was like, what is in that couch? Oh, yeah, speaking of Tombstone, yeah, you should show that box.
That's right. I got some, by God, Tombstone 45 long Colt, by God.
It's kind of neat. They actually, there's a place in Tombstone, Arizona, where they have the original town, most of it is still there, and they have a gun shop in there. They don't sell guns, but I think they're trying to, actually.
A gun shop in Tombstone that doesn't sell guns?
I know.
Okay. That's kind of weird.
They do sell guns, though, just throughout the place.
I thought you were going to
overpriced, of course, but
because I could have swore you got this from the Wide Earp Ammo and Gun Shop.
Oh yeah. No, they have because it's geared towards families and stuff.
Of course, family oriented.
Yeah.
Of course. All right.
But they have the side of a shootout, family oriented. And here, little kids, is
Come
where
on, kids. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Got the. Did you guys? Did they have to? You guys were there. Did they have where you could dress up in old West stuff and shoot the old black and white pictures of
Yep.
y'all shooting?
They sure did.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yep. They sure did.
Yeah. Look, Mom, somebody's gonna try to pass it off as a real thing. Look, there's my great granddaddy right behind Wyatt. Yeah, right.
It's actually really neat. If anyone's in that area or whatever, should check it out for sure. It's cool because they have over there. They have the OK Corral, and they try to keep it. I mean, it was a long time ago, so like they've had to recreate and build some things.
Yeah.
So every bit of it's not all original. I think a lot of the wood in the OK Corral has all been replaced, but there's I forget what it's called, but these parts of the walls in the corral and stuff like that, where they actually have the separate little stalls, I guess you call it, where the horses were. Like I think most of that is original. It looks really old, so you can kind of tell and stuff. And but they've got the actual spot where the shootout happened. They have these little dummies standing there, and it's supposed to be standing in the same spots where they all stood and everything. Okay. And it's crazy because when you look at it, you notice two things. One, wow, people were short back then.
Yeah.
Because they tried to get them all like the right height. And two, they were extremely close. It was like the shootout took place in this room. I mean,
exactly.
Insane.
That's a common, because of Tombstone, that's a common misconception that they were out there in this corral, big open space. No, it was, how big was it? It's like,
I mean, they were right on top of each other. They were spitting distance, honestly.
Which made it more scary when you think about it. You're that close firing, 1868's single actions at each other at point.
Definitely point shooting, yeah.
Dude. And a lot of reaction shooting too. I'm thinking you're just dumping rounds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And Doc had that shotgun.
Oh man, at that kind of range, I'd just blow a big hole in
it. Yeah, the old school double barrel firing both barrels at once.
So they have a shop there where you go in and they have these little paint bullets that you can shoot at targets in there for like kids that want to get Colt single action. They got the right weight and everything. It's kind of cool.
All right.
And then and they actually sell like some holsters or stuff, but they make that ammo there, and they have a bunch of different calibers, like all different types, and even non-Tombstone ammo. But the 45 long Colt is the only one where they actually order the brass that has Tombstone, on the back of it. So,
oh, God, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I saw that. I was like, Derek gotta have some of that for his Henry.
That's right. I'm still working again. I'm gonna work on. We gotta do a show when I can do that. John Wayne.
That's right.
For those of you who see the old school True Grit with John Wayne, when he's shooting that what's that guy? Ned Pepper. Robert Duvall's character.
Yeah.
He's riding toward him. He shoots his single action army, and then he flip cocks that Winchester. Dude, movie history. God, that's awesome.
Such a great scene. Yeah,
that's great. Only the Duke could do that.
Yeah,
this remake was okay. It was all right. Yeah, but what's his name? Who played Rooster Cogburn in the new one.
Oh, Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Great actor. But
patch on the wrong side.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And also, Jeff Bridges is a one trick pony now. Every movie he looks the same.
Yeah.
The old he looks like a Western guy no matter what he does.
Yeah, he does, and he was kind of the dude also. I don't know. That movie should have been good. You know what I mean?
Yes, they had all the big names in it. I mean,
I don't know why it wasn't good. It's like the acting was just off. I
think they maybe stuck too close to the book.
Yeah,
they were trying to stick close to the book,
and then the end was like depressing unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like usually whenever you have a scene in a movie where it's like, such and such time later, you're kind of like, oh yeah, it's gonna be, but it's like, oh yeah, let's see what Maddie's been up to. Oh, lost her arm.
Old maid, living by herself, talks to her cats. I mean,
dog just died. Okay, that's all.
Realistic, but depressing.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, you want realism, but it's still a movie. After all.
Like the old one in '69. By God,
oh man, great
John
movie.
Wayne comes out there and she says, "I'm gonna be here, and my family buried there, and I want you to rest right here next to me." And Rooster Cogburn's like, "Well, just don't expect me to move in too soon."
Yeah,
come see an old fat man. He jumped that rail fence of that horse. Heck yeah!
Oh, it was great. The two of them were great in that movie together. Yeah. Like she was just like so like chatterbox and just great, and then him, his personality.
He was John Wayne. That's all. Oh man, he was the only character he ever played, which was John Wayne.
Right, and it was a great character.
Oh my God! So,
I saw that scene recently. I think I was over at parents' house shooting a video, and Dad had the Westerns channel on. They showed like that clip or whatever. It's something I hadn't thought about. You think of John Wayne in that scene, like we were just talking about, where they meet in that field.
Yeah.
I have to say, Robert Duvall had a pretty good line though. He said whenever he said something like, what did John Wayne say first? It was like,
I plan to, the rest of you step aside. Ned, I plan to kill you in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
or see you hanged at Judge in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience.
Yeah,
I've seen that movie way too many times.
And then Ned says something like, "That's wise. That's
a dog fall." He says 4-on-1. You call that a dog fall? Which I had to look up that expression. That's a 19th century expression for not good odds.
Oh yeah, but not that line. He says that's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Right.
And I remember thinking like, oh, he kind of got him there.
And the Duke went, "Fill your hands, you know what?"
Yeah,
we're a family radio station here, so I can't say that. And he stuck them reins in his teeth and pulled out that single action army. Oh yes, love it.
Oh, that was great. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking now. And then Glenn Campbell, whose hair never moved during the whole movie.
Oh yeah. Hey, for a country star, I thought his acting was good.
It was the role. It was him.
That's true.
He was being himself.
Yeah.
And Maddie went up on the ridge, and she's like, "Shoot him! They too far, moving too fast."
Yeah.
She says, "No grit, Rooster Cogburn. No grit, not much." Oh God. She got that big 1846 horse pistol that she.
Oh yeah.
That she couldn't even hold it up. Hey.
I forget if it was a Colt Dragoon or
Colt Dragoon.
So it was.
Yes, it was. Big gun,
horse pistol. Yeah.
4 feet long.
I love that was kind of like a running joke throughout the movie. Whenever she'd pull it, everybody would be like, "What the hell you got that for?"
I mean, and all that gun, it was only like 36 caliber. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was. Yeah.
I mean, the gun's like 4 foot long, fires a 36 caliber round.
Yeah, but I think the deal was, because that's back when they didn't have the metallurgy they have now, and even though it was still not a huge caliber. What? Are you sure it was a 36? There's two of those big guns. I get them mixed up all the time. There's the Colt Dragoon, and then because one's a 36 and one's a 44.
I'm thinking that the
Walker. That's it. The Colt Dragoon and then the Walker Colt. Those are the two.
And I'm thinking I'm getting the caliber mixed up because
and she had the Dragoon because it was a horse pistol, and that's what Dragoon is.
Wild Bill, he fired a 36 caliber. His guns were 36 caliber.
That's true, yeah.
But
either way though, like that was the deal with those. I think those bigger Colts back in those days, they were big because it was like they could load up a hotter charge and the gun could actually handle it.
Okay. Or you could hit them with it.
Well, that too, yeah.
But great movie.
Yeah, amazing movie.
Problem was when she's in the hole with the snakes.
Yeah.
Okay, don't poke a rattlesnake with a stick, lady.
Oh, I know.
The snake's trying to get away, and she's like, keep hitting him. The snake bit her in self-defense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Really, if you're still, they might have just left you alone.
Exactly. But she picked up that brush and started banging on it. The snake's like, hey, lady, I'm trying to get away. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
But
My experience, reptiles, they don't like people.
no, they don't.
They just want to be left alone.
Yeah, they leave me alone. I'm trying to get away. Great movie, by God, and he was in. It's the only one he won an Oscar for.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw his acceptance speech from 1969. And he says, John Wayne said, if I'd known this, I would put that patch on 30 years ago.
That sounds like a John Wayne line, doesn't it?
Oh, God. The Duke, baby. Oh.
Have you ever seen his last movie?
The Shootist? Parts of it. That's one with Ron Howard in it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that, but,
I liked it.
It's famous because it's his last movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a great last movie, though, because just the way that they did it, because they knew it was going to be his last movie, so that was why they were able to. It had all the classic Western guys in there.
What's his name?
The guy from Have Gun Will Travel was in there. You ever see that show?
You're going back on that one.
Yeah.
With Jimmy Stewart was in it too, right?
Yeah.
You got a cancer.
Oh, he was so Jimmy Stewart in that movie too.
I'm like, a cancer, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy, which kind? Just a cancer. Okay, all right. I guess in 1880 it didn't matter. You got cancer. It don't matter which kind. Hey.
Yeah. He was just brutally honest with him.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't do a Jimmy Stewart voice. I wish I could. I wish I could so badly.
I can't do this joke on your show, but I'll tell you, but Dana Carvey.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
thank you.
So great. Oh man, it's great. That's how he got on SNL. I think was that bit.
Dana Carvey does Jimmy Stewart. So
yeah. Oh man.
Ron Howard was in it, and I think it was realistic when he told him, you got a cancer. Well, it's 1888. What can they do for it?
Yeah.
Anything that leeches couldn't cure, you were done. You were done. So,
exactly.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, but I thought that was a really good movie though. It's John Wayne is such a classic, and it's neat when you feel like his last movie. It was sad the way that he died, but it was nice that they knew it was going to be his last movie, so they could really give him a good send off. You know what I mean? If he had just died abruptly, and then just what if his last movie had been some weird cop movie that was terrible or something?
Well, okay, John Wayne, I love him, great actor, I love all his movies, but he was a one-trick pony. Anything he did, it was John Wayne being John Wayne. I saw when he tried to do Genghis Khan. The Conqueror.
That was just bizarre.
It's John Wayne in Asian makeup
with the little mustache,
the little streak mustache, and whenever he tried to do the Asian accent, it was still John Wayne doing an Asian accent.
Yeah.
I went, Duke, come on, man, stick to what you know.
Yeah. Slow down there.
So I'm like, he supposedly he used to talk with Wyatt Earp. That that's the way the rumor goes, the mythology goes, that when he was 24 years old working on the lot, the back lots of Universal Studios, him and Wyatt Earp sit around the canteen and talk, and that's how he based his character off of what Wyatt Earp actually told him.
Yeah.
So possible, who knows? And maybe that's why he changed his name from Marion Morrison.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Wayne does sound a little tougher.
A lot tougher. Right? Marion, no, sorry. They did a follow-up to True Grit, Rooster Cogburn.
But that was a good movie.
It was okay. Yeah,
it wasn't True Grit, but
it was True Grit. That's right. And but again, and then the Cowboys in '72. We're going down memory lane.
That's right. Yeah,
the Cowboys with Bruce Dern, who was a jerk.
Oh,
he was a jerk.
Yeah,
bent up the kid's glasses. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The Duke didn't care. He pulled that B move on the Duke and shot him in the back.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know.
You jerk.
It's like one of the few ones where John Wayne died. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert.
That's right. Good Jeopardy question.
Sorry, you've had like 40 years to see it.
You ain't seen it. It came out in '72. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
If you ain't seen it by now.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite John Wayne movies actually is Big Jake. That one's always been one of my favorite ones.
Jake.
You ever seen that one?
I heard the name. What's it about?
You'd probably really like it. It just has a lot of cool components to it. It takes place around like turn of the century, like 1910 or something. And Big Jake is John Wayne, and he's like typical John Wayne.
Of course.
He's like some bounty hunter or something.
Of course.
And
it's one of them Ain't Them Days No More movies. It's kind of like a transition between Old West and modern times.
Yep,
Okay,
got it pegged.
Okay,
and
all right. Yeah.
his like ex-wife is like real wealthy, and his son gets kidnapped or something because they're real wealthy, and he wants like the ransom, and he's off like doing his own thing.
Okay.
And so who's she gonna call?
Big
John
Jake.
Wayne. Big Jake.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's great though because it's got a lot of the classic actors. I think Ben Johnson is in it. I'm pretty sure. It's got the guy from Have a Good One Will Travel because there's this gang of bad guys and they are real bad guys. Like they did cast them very well.
Okay.
And his two sons in the movie, which I think are actually his real sons in real life, as far as I understand. But they had like a little comic relief to it because they're like all into the technology, but he's not. You know, he's just like, just give me an old scattergun, I'm good to go. But one of them has a Mauser, one of those Mauser pistols.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of those.
I know the guy you're talking about, William Holden. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay, and there's this great scene where like he gets John Wayne to shoot it and he hates it, of course. And,
Get this.
Yeah.
This new 1903 stuff. Get this out of here. Where's my 1868 act?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really cool movie though. It's just got so many, and like one of his sons has a motorcycle, like one of the early motorcycles.
The old Harley Davidson 1903 runabout.
Yeah, he's got the goggles.
You have to pedal it to get it started.
Yeah. This is a cool movie.
Just like again, another great one in the same genre. Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. Again, it's that in between time between the old West and modern times, and
so what do you think? Do they die at the end of the
I don't know. This rumor says they went to Argentina and took off. No, it was Argentina. It was somewhere else down there.
Yeah, somewhere in South America.
Somewhere in South America. Went down there and it just kind of hit out. So
who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Where'd they go? That shootout though. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They took out half the Argentine army. It wasn't Argentina. It was somewhere else. Ecuador? No. This is naming off.
It's been a while since I've seen
Central American countries. We'll eventually have.
Yeah. It seems like that's the hiding spot of everyone.
Yeah. Just go to South America. You'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen? There's a picture online. Who knows? It's doctored or what? You never know this kind of stuff. But there's a picture of supposed aged Hitler. Have you seen this picture?
Yeah,
it's like Hitler in like the 60s or something.
Oh yeah, sitting on the beach, drinking pina colada.
But supposedly there was a person who was like a resident in Brazil or something.
Yeah,
and had some different name that suspiciously looked a lot like Hitler.
Oh, okay. That's been a myth for years that Hitler didn't actually commit suicide in the bunker. That somehow he escaped to South America, which had there was a large German community down there.
Yeah.
Argentina, yeah. And
it just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go.
I mean, he was 50+6 then. He had Parkinson's.
He's probably dead now.
Yeah, probably gone now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I mean, somebody would have ratted him out. Come on, it's Hitler. Come on,
most recognizable face on the planet.
I was like, oh, hey, who's this guy? This gringo at the farm up there.
I mean, it's possible, but like. Or another possibility is just thought of this. He could have had a body double just like Saddam. And,
a couple of them, yeah.
And he also was fleeing because, hey, I mean,
I look like Hitler. I can't hang around.
Yeah, exactly. And that could have been, who that was.
No, I'm not him.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. Yeah, hang him. No, really, I'm not him.
We'll see when we torture you.
This whole show from the 70s called Soap, and I know I told this story before. There's an episode where one of the characters in the family is a shell PTSD guy.
Yeah.
From World War II.
Yeah.
And he takes off and he goes to South America and he's at a restaurant in Brazil. Outdoor restaurant in Brazil, and he's sitting there, and the family finds him, and he says, "I'm looking for." They try to drag him or take him back home. He's like, "I'm looking for Hitler. I know he's down here somewhere. I'll find that goose stepping. You know what? By God, Zeke, hell, I'll find him." And as soon as the guy said, "Attention!" There's an old waiter in the back with white hair. And the guy said, and the old guy said, Achtung. And the old guy in the back snapped to attention and threw his hand up like that. And then he pulled it down and looked around. There's an old Hitler with all white hair.
Wow.
And he skips off in the back. So, so yes, that rumor's been going around for years.
Yeah. I think I cracked the case, though. It's Hitler's body double.
That's right, of course. Like The Boys from Brazil. Great movie, by the way.
I've never seen that.
Dude, like Dr. Mengele took off to Central South America, and he took all this this genetic material and had a what's it called? Where you manufacture a baby. What's it called? Test tube babies.
Okay.
And generate kids that were directly descended from Hitler's genes.
Oh, wow.
And the Jewish doctor finds him and stops him. And the kids and Dr. Mengele comes to one of these kids who's like 13 now and says, yes, you're like this, you do this, you do that, you're going to be like this. And the kid looks just like a young teenage Hitler.
Wow.
And the Jewish doctor comes in there, knocks off Dr. Mengele, and the kid says, stupid. And then go, this is dumb, and walks off. Okay, you're Hitler's kid, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, you're Hitler's kid. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
well, just think about the people, in Germany at that time. They had the last, because I assume it was Hitler a common name in Germany or last name?
No, he was Austrian, by the way.
He's Austrian.
He was, which my former in-laws were real big on that. He is not German. He was Austrian.
Yeah.
So, hey.
But I could see. Well, I mean, there's probably other people who had that last name at least at one point.
Anymore. You might want to change that last name.
How you doing? Bill Hitler.
That's right. I'm sorry, dude. You might want to change that last name. Yeah. Get down to the courthouse right now and change that name, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, you and Joe Castro. You might want to change that.
Yeah, really.
Change that name.
Yeah.
And right next to Bill Stalin. You might want to change that name.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, there's one of the theories, of course, is that I like going down those rabbit holes and looking into there's a theory, that the Nazis were reverse engineering some kind of advanced technology, alien or otherwise.
Why wouldn't they use it then? If they had,
well, that's a good question. It's possible it never got out of the beta phase of just developing it, but some people think that this is one of the classic theories, one of the more popular ones. They were working on a flying saucer based on, some people say, alien technology, or maybe they just were working on one. That was just an idea they came up with.
Good idea for 1940. Okay.
Yeah. And they never really, it was going to be like a spy plane or something.
Yep.
And, like some of the technology they were working on, and they saw they were losing the war, so they never really got to use it much. And some people think that they used those to flee from Germany. That's how they escaped. That a lot of them, maybe Hitler included, maybe not, but some of the real serious Nazis used those things to flee to Brazil and set up a new life or whatever.
Anything's possible. I will say that anything's possible.
Yeah.
But this is also the same. The German army also gave their soldiers meth too.
Right.
To keep going, which
it ran out of gas.
This guy, this guy can march for like 7 days without sleeping, and nobody can stop him. Hey, but then all of a sudden he collapses.
Yeah.
Not much good after that.
All right, let's get another one.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get another guy in here.
I understood you could buy meth over the counter. And,
for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs you
over
could.
the counter, okay.
Opium and all that stuff.
Yeah, honey, could you pick up some meth on the way back from the store?
Yeah. I know.
What the heck?
That's one thing that's interesting is, we're made to believe, which, for a good reason in some instances, that people back in the day were just not as sophisticated. They were a lot dumber or whatever back in the day. But you think about, it's like there were so many things that were just widely available to everyone. Drugs, guns.
There was no such thing as an illegal drug until 1914.
Yeah.
Not in America.
I didn't know the date on it, but yeah, I knew back in the day, it's like you could just, I need some opium. I need some heroin.
Yeah, we're over here, right behind the eggs. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Guns, there was a time where you could have a Thompson just mailed to your house.
Or pick it up at the hardware store.
Right.
Walk out, throw it in the front seat, drive home.
Exactly. But, now this more sophisticated generation of people, we can't handle guns.
Well, no. it's a different. I think the best thing we say it was a different time.
It's true.
There was more personal responsibility. If you can have a Thompson machine gun, but if you shoot somebody, we're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
we're gonna execute you for murder. You know,
and everybody had guns.
It was nobody's fault. It was like, well, you know, Big John didn't have a birthday party when he was 7, so we can't hold him responsible. What?
Yeah.
So I think there was more personal responsibility. In the past, there was none of this excuse. I'll say it. None of this excuse making that we do now.
Right.
Well, you know, he wasn't nurtured.
Yeah, that's the thing that's frustrating. Is like I can't think of a more family friendly way to say this, but I wish we could, like in our country, we could just grow some balls. You know what I mean? It's like a crazy dude went and shot up a bunch of people.
Yeah.
All right, okay, we got a lot of stuff to cut out now. All right, let's make sure that we stop that guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Instead of like, you know, so what was he? How was he feeling? You know, like how did he get the tools to do this? And how did all these different things like. Okay, guy with a gun shot a bunch of people. Let's make sure there's a guy with a gun to stop him from shooting a bunch of people. It just seems so simple.
It was a different time. People's attitudes were different now. We're more tolerant of a lot more things, which is good and bad. I mean, a
double-edged sword for sure.
You know, like a guy named Albert Fish. He was a serial killer from the 1930s. I think he killed and ate 3, 4 people. Yeah,
I like I just casually mentioned that.
Yeah. By the way, he ate them too.
Yeah,
he killed and ate like 3, 4 people, right? And the guy, everyone agreed when he was caught that he was mentally insane. Everybody agreed that, but the jury agreed that he was insane, but they also agreed that he should die too.
Yeah.
So they executed him. They're like, yeah, we know he's crazy, but he should die too.
Yeah.
So a lot of attitudes were different then. I think there was more personal responsibility. It wasn't somebody else's fault. You know, if you did something like shoot somebody unlawfully, no, you just screwed up.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it's nobody's fault. Yeah, you didn't have a cake when you were 7. Too bad.
Yeah.
You're going down.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you have enough people, you're always going to have anomalies. And I think, how much of an anomaly that is what makes a difference, right? Mm-hmm. Like, for example, one common anomaly is people being handicapped to the point where they have to be in a wheelchair. Yeah. All right. That's an anomaly, but it's pretty common enough to where we set up buildings for wheelchair access. Yes. Right. Like that's a very nice, reasonable thing that our society does. Mm-hmm. But if someone has an anomaly where they have like no arms and legs, like we're not going to have special like mind activated door handles, because it's so uncommon. Right. So same thing with guns. That's the way I look at it. It's it's terrible when somebody goes and shoots up a place, but it's ridiculously rare. It's so rare. Yes. If you look at how many people there are, basically like it's something that never happens almost.
Well, with the news coverage, we got the 24-hour news cycle. Everything. A lot of hysterics are media driven. What if he used a broom or a knife? How do you kill somebody with a broom? I don't know.
Or explosive. That's the thing.
Most guns are not used for mass killings. Thank God. But according to our media, there's a hysteria.
Right.
My God, he went nuts and he used a gun. Well, what if he stabbed him? Would that have been fine? Would we try to outlaw knives? That would have been wouldn't have been any better. Yeah. But I think we need to just be reasonable with our perspective.
Right.
Something is absolutely wrong, and we need to make sure do what we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. But you can't blame one thing. Blaming weapons are easy.
Right.
The problem is us. We said that before on the show. The problem isn't guns or knives. It's us. We're the ones with the problem. That somebody would just get up and just get off their couch one day and say, you know what? I'm going to go out there and shoot down a bunch of people. Something's wrong with us.
Yeah.
So, but that's a tougher question.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I hate to say the Obama word on your show, but he said this. He says one problem with our government we have now is that nobody wants to make the hard decisions. Like, okay, look, if we have an issue with enforcing the laws that we already have as far as weapons, we should be doing that.
All right,
but we're not.
But sometimes we're not willing to make the hard decisions when a politician says that. That's code for we don't have enough public support, so let's figure out a way to do it anyways.
True. Good rebuttal. Yes, all right, good rebuttal. You're right.
But sometimes I think that's the case. But like I know Obama's got to come on TV about guns and saying how. The thing that really annoys me is, most Americans support, reasonable gun, laws and all this kind of stuff. Which, in theory, yes, but not in the way that he means. It's like it's so condescending, to say something like that. To say like, oh, most of you think this, right?
The smart ones,
yes,
the intelligent ones among you.
It's just like, come on, man.
Whatever. People want reasonable gun control, reasonable, which is what let's enforce the laws we already have. That's one thing I've always advocated.
Right.
Let's enforce the laws we've already have.
Let's figure out a way for it to be reasonable and not encroach on people's freedom.
Exactly, which it is possible. I think what we have now does not encroach necessarily. I know some of you disagree.
I think some of it does.
But listen, we're not enforcing the laws we already have.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee, Texas, and some other states have already said that if the federal government does anything to encroach on the Second Amendment, the state will not enforce it.
Right.
And I think Tennessee said, they can make any law they want, but let them enforce it.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough. The fact that the states are saying that should be, I would think, would be a indicator to the federal government that, hey, look, enough with new laws. We're done. Let's just, again, I say, enforce what we have.
Right, and even the ones we have are not necessarily good. Like like we talked about before we started the show, there's only so much you can do, like background checks.
Yeah.
For example, like, people who, it sounds great in theory, but again, you don't.
San Bernardino, those guys will pass the background check.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know that somebody is crazy or going to do something crazy.
Know. That's totally
until they do it. And
I think that's one thing that's maybe scary to a lot of people, not knowing the unforeseen, the randomness. Can be scary, that somebody could just like that snap and go out there and start killing.
Yeah,
that's always been true. That's always been true.
Oh yeah, and that's why I think the only way to stop a mass shooting is mass protection. Like that's the only thing that we're going to be able to do is when it happens, somebody has to be there to stop it.
I noticed that you don't see none of these shootings. Again, I've said this before. You don't see these mass shootings in places where people carry weapons or are likely to carry weapons, like Atlanta. Or Dallas.
Yeah, where's all the gun show mass shootings? Yeah, don't see those.
Not likely there.
No, not at all.
Or in the South. What's that place in?
Well, there was, of course, the one in South Carolina, but it was in a church where you weren't allowed to have it.
Yeah, okay, that was a B move right there.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a church and you pull out. That was a B move.
Yeah.
Okay, dude.
And that was a little different. That was like a targeted.
Exactly.
thing, yeah.
Exactly. Again, this individual went to a church where he knew no one else was going to be armed.
Right.
A straight up B move. What was that? Going way back to '65. What was that guy at the tower in Houston? Was it? Houston? Or San Antonio? It was University of Texas, wasn't it? That's Austin.
Was it Austin?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Actually,
clock tower, guy.
Yeah, I know. I actually saw I went through. I was in San Antonio and I went through the Texas Ranger Museum.
Yeah.
And in there, they had a police uniform, an old police uniform from the 70s or whenever that happened.
60s. Yeah.
60s. And they had blood on it, from that incident. The guy himself wasn't shot, but tending to people who were wounded and stuff like that. And they still had blood on the uniform. That was interesting to see.
It makes it real.
Yeah.
That guy, Marine Corps trained marksman, was hitting people at 400 yards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the thing that stands out to me, especially now, is that police were returning fire, but also private citizens went and got their weapons out of their cars and were shooting back at the guy.
Yes, that's how it should be.
God.
And people always say, and I hate this, that when training becomes a thing, right? Yeah, training is good. But when it comes to something like that, who would you rather have defending your life? Nothing or something? Right? We would all want something. Honestly, if I could choose between having no one defend my life and a goldfish, I'd be like, well, might as well have the goldfish. Maybe it'll
better nothing.
Maybe it'll be entertaining at least, or distracting, something.
The thing that stuck out to me is that guy about that shooting in '65 was that again, private citizens were grabbing their guns, coming out. They heard there's a shooting. Grabbed their guns, went out there with their deer rifles, and were shooting back at the guy.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If that happened today, I'd be like,
oh no, think of the people that could have been hurt or what.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
I know. It's a different time.
Yeah, they say that with the Aurora theater shooting, if someone had a gun, they would have, you know what, even if somebody that was a complete idiot and did have a gun and just shot crazy or whatever and killed some other innocent people, Thing is, that guy, he would have killed every single person in that theater.
If nobody had to confront, which that guy.
Because the police eventually got there, but
If I feel like if someone had confronted him, which is easy to say, in the theater, that he would have gave up because
they all tend to do that.
Which you're right. I read that, did some reading on that. A lot of your mass shooters, begging for your life is not what you want to do because they already have a low opinion of you anyway.
Right.
But these people that usually when they're confronted, they either give up or kill themselves.
Yeah.
So one person, which certain places you ain't gonna pull a gun out in the theater, especially now after stuff like this.
Right.
Bad move.
Because none of them are like tough guys or anything. So it really what it comes down to is they don't want to be injured. They don't want to get shot. They're terrified of being shot. And
like this guy,
they'd rather go to jail or just die and they'll never feel it.
And when this guy ran outside, he had all kinds of weapons in his vehicle, but as soon as the police confronted him, he threw his hands up.
Yeah.
Oh, you just shot down how many people?
Yeah.
But when the police show up, I'm crazy. I'm the Joker.
Yeah,
oh,
and that's a good example of another thing that the anti-gun people that are pushing for that will say is, well, if a citizen pulls his gun, how do the police know if you're a good guy or a bad guy when they show up? Well, they knew that guy was a bad guy and he had guns in his hand. They didn't shoot him.
Well, because a responsible, law-abiding citizen, like I just read a story about a 50-year-old California, a 50-year-old guy. He was 70. No, 80, and been carrying for 50 years.
Yeah.
Came into his house, found a 50-year-old male breaking into his house, drew his sidearm, put the guy at gunpoint, called 911, escorted the guy out of the house, ordered him to the ground. Police showed up. The 80-year-old guy holstered his weapon, showed his hands.
Yeah.
Good job.
How you do it. Put it away.
Good job.
Yep.
I'm not a threat. My weapon's holstered. I'm the guy that called. My hands are inside.
Now, where it would get tricky is if they show up while you're in the middle of shooting it out with the guy. But, nothing is perfect. Like, you're about to be killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to try something. Whatever. Yell at the police. Hey, I'm the good guy. You're both like yelling. I'm the good guy.
No, hit me. No, me. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. But, you're about to die. You got to try something.
You got to do something. And also, you come home and find somebody in your house. That's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Do not, if you carry a weapon, God forbid, most people will never, ever, ever, ever have to use it in self-defense. But if that day should ever come, God forbid, you can't hesitate.
Yeah.
You cannot hesitate. And also, you got to make sure you do all the proper things, which is, again, once you get the guy in custody or on the ground, get the police there. If possible, before you engage him, call police. Hey, this is me. I'm wearing this.
Right.
I'm about to this guy's in my house. I got him at gunpoint.
Yeah. That reminds me. We'll close on this because this is something I actually did a YouTube video on. I want to get your opinion of. Just thought of it. So I bought these little GoPro cameras.
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of see over on my printer that little square, that black square.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these little cube cameras. Okay. And I got this little mount. It's like a little clamp mount, and I attach it to one of my rifles. Okay. To where you have this like camera angle, like looking down on it. I basically did it because
point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would just be a cool cool video. That was the only reason I did it, really. Yeah. But then when I put it on there, I kind of started thinking like, this actually might be something to think about if you could have not necessarily that setup, but if you could have a camera mounted on your gun, handgun or rifle if it's small enough. If you have to use it in a self-defense situation as a way to, show that you did right in
the right
court.
thing, right way, yeah.
Yeah, and some people had some really interesting, opinions on in the YouTube comments. Like some people said that, it's a double-edged sword, which I agree. It's more. Some people said it's more likely to hurt you than help you. And
yes, that's
kind of depends.
Depends on the situation.
My thing is like, it's your own video.
Yeah.
And now one guy said, if you take video, it's considered evidence technically or whatever, which I get that. But, if I take my own video, let's say, and I don't know, I get involved in a situation and I feel like I know I did the right thing. I know in my heart I did the right thing. Yeah. But the video, I don't know, I feel like it might not have come out right or something. Then throw it away and not say anything about it.
It's not just video too. You gotta be able to, if you're engaged in something like that, you gotta be able to articulate what you did too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because remember, the video don't show what led up to it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's one thing that a lot of people who are real big on their cell phone cameras.
Yeah.
Under the law, they have to take into account the entirety of the situation. Exactly. Also, what was your state of mind during the situation too?
Right. Like there was Let me interrupt you, but there was a video of a cop who went viral at some point, and they were like, "Oh, this is abuse," because the cop like banged this kid's head into a police car. But if you watch the full video, the kid he was arresting this kid, and the kid grabbed his nuts and just squeezed as hard as he could. So the cop did that to try to shock him to get him to let go.
Exactly.
You know,
again, video it can be a double-edged sword, but it's not just video. Again, the entirety of the video, what led up to the situation before you start filming, and what's more important is that you be able to articulate what happened.
Right.
Don't have that death before dishonor T-shirt on. So also video cameras make people behave because they know they're on tape.
That's true. You can even tell them like, I have a gun and you're being recorded.
That's right. And it's like they make those little body cams. As soon as you hit that red light, they know they're being recorded. All of a sudden, they're not so. Hopefully, they're not so aggressive anymore, because now they can't say it was this or that. No, we're on videotape. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So again, and also don't be afraid to do the right thing, because a lot of people real big about I'm filming you. I'm filming you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I know I'm doing the right thing. Or you?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It's always funny. You know, I mean, it's good if cops are doing the wrong thing. It's good that it's brought to light.
Yeah.
But it's funny sometimes you'll see videos on the internet where the cop isn't doing anything wrong, and they're filming and they're like playing gotcha, and the cop just like doesn't care. Like whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You know?
I mean, yeah, dude. Okay, whatever. Because the cop knows. Again, if anybody's gonna be judged, it's gonna be judged on the entirety of the situation. People think they show a little clip, a little piece of footage, and they think that's it. He's good. No. The court doesn't work like that. What was the cop's state of mind?
Yeah.
And again, what happened before this?
Yeah.
So, and people dare I say Ferguson? Prime example of that.
Yeah.
Prime example. People saw this, they thought, oh, it's this. All these eyewitnesses. Well, once they got on the police interrogation, well, okay, I shouldn't say that. Police interview. Don't say interrogation.
Yeah.
Police interview. Police interview. All of a sudden, the story, well, did you see that? Well, somebody told me. Yeah, but you said you saw it. Yeah, but actually, somebody told me.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, again, what they say, people get emotional. All of a sudden, what they think becomes what they know. What's important is, if you're ever involved, stay cool, keep your head.
Right. And also you have, this thing where sometimes we see what we're expecting to see, especially at first, on every level, even like, how you'll see somebody corner their eye and you're like, oh, is that oh, no, it's not,
Yeah.
And, so, if let's say you're living in an environment where it is kind of feels oppressive by the police, right? Like, people that have been kind of knocked around a little or whatever, and you feel like the police are an oppressive force in your neighborhood, and something like this happens. And I'm not saying this as an opinion of the Ferguson situation. Honestly, I kind of stay neutral on it, to be honest, because it's hard to know.
That's all right.
But I'm just doing a hypothetical. So you're a guy who feels, rightfully so, maybe a little oppressed by the police in general, right? Yeah. Well, if something happens where someone does get shot, I mean, you're going to see that as the cop doing it wrong, even if he didn't, right? Just because that's what you're expecting to see.
It's a conditioned reflex. You're conditioned to feel that, feel a certain way.
Right. And not necessarily is what's going to happen, but it's just like that's a very strong force.
Yeah.
That's
and there's
underestimated.
a lot of cultural, environmental reasons people feel the way they do.
Right.
So never forget. And that has to be taken into account too.
Yeah.
So that's why investigations are very important. And that's why investigations take so long, because you have to give a time for emotion to die down.
Yeah.
And then people say, well, did I see, was that the way I,
Yeah.
So.
And to me, like, that's why I'm all about ending the drug war, at least in a way that it makes sense, that because obviously there's some pretty bad stuff out there that we don't want people doing.
Yeah.
We can help it, but that's where a lot of this tension, I think, comes from with law enforcement and people in communities. Because in people in poorer communities, whether it's inner city or Appalachia, wherever, there's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of drug use in poorer communities, and drugs are illegal. So the cops are constantly messing with people, right? So it makes them feel like the cops are always after them, and in a way, if you look at, drug use as, especially the bad ones, as more of like a cancer instead of, because the problem is, it'd be like if people actually had cancer, you don't like beat up the people, you got to fight the actual cancer, right? So taking people to jail and, prying on their lives and stuff like it just makes them more angry and more likely to do drugs.
Yeah, let's get away from the let's look at some of the real causes of drug use and stuff. Busting people for drugs is that's just part of the problem.
Yeah, like ruling with an iron fist, I think doesn't necessarily work in that scenario.
We should be addressing the issues that cause the drug use, I think.
Right.
Poverty, lack of education, discontent,
right.
economic issues. That's what we should be. Those are some of the tough questions we have to face.
Yeah.
I think the drug use is just a result of that.
Right.
So
exactly. Like for example, with meth, right? That's one that's bad around like the areas I'm familiar with. It's terrible. It does terrible things to people. People get blown up in their trailers, and innocent people die from it, or just severely injured and lives ruined. Because there's so much money in it. Much money.
Yeah, it makes it worth the risk.
Yeah, you can be a millionaire out of your trailer with stuff you go buy at Home Depot if you know what you're doing, right? Like it's going to be hard for certain people to say no to
turn that down. I mean, that movie Traffic.
I've only seen parts of that. Never seen
the guy said something in that movie that was absolutely on that point. He says, you can go out there. He just talked about crack and cocaine. He says you can go out there and in a couple hours make $600 in a couple hours, and then you can do the rest of what you want the rest of the day. He says, "Why am I in college?"
Yeah.
He says, "If crack and coke wasn't in the ghetto, my parents, his white parents, would be fighting each other to be selling it."
Yeah.
So
and the thing is, so the reason that people go through such great lengths to cook it, and they talk about enforcement, but there's really nowhere else they can take it already. If you get caught cooking meth, you are done. They put you under the jail. I mean, really, like you are screwed.
It's over, man.
Yeah, you really are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they give people life for that.
I've had to deal with individuals who intent initiate the process. Production of meth, initiate process of meth, possession of meth.
Yeah,
they will bury you.
Yeah. So where do you how do you enforce it more? Like, what are you going to start giving people the death penalty?
Take the profit out of it, but I don't know how.
See, this is my kind of plan, my half-assed plan. So the production of it. The reason that people go through these great lengths to produce it, even though the risks are incredibly high, even higher than selling it, which are still super high. Because it's worth so much money, right? Millions of dollars. So the way that you stop that is if you take it down to the individual level, right? Where people are buying whatever an individual amount of meth would be at a small amount. Like, I don't really know anything about meth, but like, whatever like your typical dealer would carry around with them. I don't know what that would be, an ounce or two. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever the typical dealer would carry around, make a threshold to where that's basically decriminalized. It's not legal. You can't sell it in stores or anything. You still maybe get a fine or something like that. But it's decriminalized. All right. So that I think could have like a trickle up effect, right? So if the reason that you can make a lot of money selling meth on that level is because the risk is so high that you have to charge it has to be worth it to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to take risk years locked up.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's not illegal, if you can't go to jail for it, then everybody is going to try to sell meth, and it's going to be like everyone that does it, and it's going to be like not worth very much. So then that's going to trickle up all the way up to the cook level. And those cooks, why would they cook it? There's no way, you can't make any money off of it. And then what you do is you make the lower levels of the meth trade, you do criminalize that, soften that, and then you try to either keep it just as hard or make it even harder on the people who are cooking it. So then it's kind of like you screw up that whole cost benefit thing.
I think people that would counter that argument would make the argument about legalized weed. I mean, people thought in Washington and Colorado, legalize it, the illegal element will go away. No, it didn't. Bootleg weed, even in Colorado and Washington, they still got bootleg marijuana out there.
Right, but it's still, though, it's not like the crime isn't as associated with it.
You're right. It's this individual who dealt in that illegal aspect of it told me that illegal weed didn't go away. It was just they just undersell the state stuff. Because state weed would start out being very expensive in Colorado and Washington. Yeah. So the way the dope man acted out there was like, okay, I'll just undersell it.
Yeah, which they need to bring the prices down.
Which they are coming down.
That would take care of it.
Exactly. And you got people who, what they want is that they want to go to a dispensary, buy their stuff like they go in the grocery store,
And what they know what they're getting.
and they know what they're getting, and I just go home, and there's no big deal.
Yeah.
But the problem, even with legal weed now, is that where you work, hey man, I don't care what you do in your off time, but if I test you positive, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long time before it's viewed the same as alcohol.
Which alcohol, you can't come to work drunk. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
and there's still stipulations. If you can't walk down the street, smoking one, you can't drive a car,
Right.
which is responsible use. Because if you're doing that, you should be out there anyway.
Which to me, I think marijuana should be in the same class as alcohol. That's how I think it should be treated just like alcohol. Whatever the government wants to tax it, as long as it's not unreasonable, fine.
Okay.
Certain limitations.
Reasonable use. If you use it irresponsibly,
Yeah.
you're gonna get punished.
Yeah, exactly. Just like if you're, drunk and acting crazy in public, you get a charge for that. Whatever they have to do to penalize people who are negatively affecting other people's
Acting
lives.
irresponsibly, yeah. And even some of the big time legal sellers say the same thing. If you're acting irresponsibly, you should be punished.
Right.
You should be.
In a way that affects other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, if you're sitting in your house and you're like, whatever, you get stoned and you order like cookies, like a bushel of cookies off of Amazon, it's pretty irresponsible.
But not a crime.
Yeah.
I meant like if you're okay, you're right. Let's clarify.
Yeah.
If you're neglecting the kids, if you're you're driving and endangering other people, that's a problem.
And the thing is, that's that template is already in place for alcohol.
That's right. So it's an idea. I think it's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Everywhere. But we still got some legal things to deal with, like the THC oil. They put these vapes. What do they call them?
Yeah. The electronic cigarettes.
Yeah, the e-cigarettes. I mean, where does that fall legally? I mean, that's a tough one.
What do you mean? Like as far as that's the same or not?
You're using an active chemical in marijuana, but you're not. I guess you're smoking in a different way.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's really no different. Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, so again, I've heard that some people want to make it that somebody had a problem with being, yes, you could do it on your personal time, but if you come to work and we test you, you're done. They feel like you're infringing on my freedom.
Yeah.
No. Look, this is a private company. I don't care what you do at home, but you're not going to do that stuff and work here.
Right.
And if I test you and you come up positive, you're gone.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, hey.
It's a private company. Now, if it's like alcohol, that's one thing that would be kind of unfair. Like if you don't drink alcohol and you're a person that smokes pot, well, alcohol doesn't even stay in your system.
Yeah.
So like there's no way for them to know that you drink unless you're drunk, basically, for the most part.
Which I think the only way they would know if you came to work.
Right.
It made it obvious that I'm high or I'm drunk. I mean, that's the only way they would know.
And that's how it is now.
Yeah.
You can't come to work on drugs.
That's right.
unless you're like a musician or something.
That's right. Unless you work at a dispensary, you can go work out all day.
Yeah.
But it's got responsible use. I think that's all anybody wants, responsible use.
Right.
I mean, if you're not doing that, then you shouldn't be out there.
Right. Because, everyone can, pretty much agree that marijuana doesn't cause violence towards people.
Nah,
it doesn't harm people in that way. It's just they just need to, whatever, just chalk it up to, I don't know.
And that would take a lot of the profit out of it, and profit for the unauthorized deal seller.
Right. And that would be a good thing. It's like, nobody wants to have to, like, would you, if you were gonna just wanted a 6-pack of beer to drink with a football game, do you want to have to like go to some guy,
That's right.
and like he just started brewing it, and you like hope he got the process right. You know what I mean?
That's right. Oh my God.
It's like some real sketchy part of town.
He's got a field full of hops behind him. Is that natural? What chemicals are you using those hops?
Yeah, exactly.
That barley over there. What are you doing with that?
Yeah. I feel like I said this on the show before. I forget, but there was a great commercial that I think it was when one of the first times they actually decriminalized it or made it like legal for recreation in Colorado. I think they had some ad, and it was this dude that like came around this back alley, and he was like, "Hey guys, want some sushi?" And he like opens up his coat, and he's got all this sushi in his coat. They're like, "Come on, you want some sushi?" I got California roll. got cream cheese, and then they're like, and then the message was like, you wouldn't buy sushi from this guy. Why would you buy? I was like, that was actually a pretty brilliant ad,
So it's coming. I mean, it's coming. Why not?
I think that one of the big things that's holding up right now is, of course, the government is trying to take advantage of the situation.
They're cut.
And they're trying to create monopolies. I'm fine with the government getting their tax money, but they're trying to play favorites with certain established private businesses. I'll tell you what, the one thing that marijuana advocates will not stand for is corporate
That's right.
products.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
You go to Walmart and say, Walmart weed. Oh, hey, what is this?
Yeah, sorry, but nobody's buying
They protested
that.
Walmart weed.
That's not going to work. So so there's actually been several states where it was going to actually pass, but because they're trying to strong arm everybody and like only these 4 people are allowed to grow it or whatever. That's why it's
anybody else is going to get raided by the sheriff's department and locked. Yeah, okay,
exactly, because it's still technically federally legal and all that.
It's illegally federally. Yeah,
still is. Yeah.
What? At the state level, you're just fine.
Which is frustrating because I wish we could do that with guns. How awesome would that be? Like machine guns, technically they're federally illegal,
but you can have that.
But you got these
belt fed. Yeah.
Why aren't there machine gun dispensaries? Come on.
All right, well,
that's what we need: machine gun dispensaries.
And ammo right next to it. Ammo factories right next to it.
Yeah, exactly. Go buy the M60 I've always wanted.
That's
M2 50 cal.
Yeah, keep it in the backyard. Yeah, hey, come on.
Yeah, exactly. No, what I really want is one of those underground things like Terminator 2. Where they got Terminator 2 where they move. They're out in the desert and they move that big board.
Oh yeah, okay.
And they go underground and the minigun is down there.
Yeah. That junkyard in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they.
You know what? So I owned a DVD copy of Terminator 2 that had deleted scenes in it.
Yeah.
And so the scene where he grabs that minigun and he gets that grin on his face. I'll tell you what, if you watch Terminator 2 with the deleted scenes, that scene, it makes it even better because there's a scene when him and John Connor, they're like riding in the car.
Yeah.
I get why they deleted it. It was a little bit slow or whatever, but he was teaching the Terminator how to smile. He was saying because there was some of that in the movie where he was like teaching him how to do more human stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's like teaching him how to smile, and he was like trying to, and he couldn't get it right or whatever. And then you see that scene where he gets that minigun and he nails it. It's like, oh yeah, it's perfect. Great movie.
Yeah. All
right. Well, that's about all we got, I think.
For now, only a good 3 hours worth. 3 hours later. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as usual, we'll do it again, and. It is what it is.
Hey, good to be back.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll see you later.